Chapter 397. The Might of a Sneeze. 3. Thank you for your concern, Lung Ruoxue said with a faint smile on her face. Little Snowy, I want to sneeze. Icy, who was lying on Lung Ruoxue's shoulder, yawned again. As soon as Icy spoke, the people from Sunzhou City collectively dodged far away while looking at the palm-sized puppy with vigilance. Not only could this puppy crush sacred artifacts with his claws, but his sneeze was also deeply rooted in their hearts, so it was best to stay away from him. This was their common thought at this moment. Do you have a cold? Little Icy, sneeze if you want. But you can't sneeze at your own people. Lung Ruoxue coaxed like she was coaxing a child while glancing at the people from Sunzhou City. This was too despicable. Wasn't it obvious that she was telling the puppy to sneeze at them? Sunzhou City's mystic was so anxious that they were about to cry. Boo! You can't do this. Okay, I'll listen to little Snowy. Icy nodded obediently, his beautiful ice blue eyes revealing a teasing expression. He liked little Snowy so much. Icy turned his head to where the people from Sunzhou City were sitting, opened his mouth, and looked at them mockingly. The mystics of Sunzhou City glared at Icy cautiously as if they were facing a formidable enemy. Sun Meilin was so scared that her legs went weak, and she couldn't run away even if she wanted to. The blow that happened last time was really too great. Fortunately, President Wu had suppressed it, and no one dared to say anything else, so Lung Wudi and the others didn't know about her embarrassing incident that time. But if the same thing happened again, and Lung Wudi happened to witness it with his own eyes, then she wouldn't be able to marry into the Lung family as his wife anymore. Therefore, she would never allow the same thing to happen again. Unfortunately, would things go as she wished? Icy had been in a deep sleep for thousands of years, and he had a personality that desired to see the world in chaos. Moreover, he didn't like her, so all these factors added up destined her tragedy. You don't do anything rash, or the Sun family won't let you go, Sun Meilin stammered and forced herself to threaten. Little Snowy, I'm being threatened again. Icy said aggrievedly, his blue eyes welling up with tears. What is the Sun family? How dare she use the Sun family to threaten me? Icy was angry, and the consequences were serious. That's too much. How can you threaten our cute Icy? Lung Ruoxue said indignantly. That's right. Little Icy, someone else is at fault. Old Zhao added oil to the fire, laughing in his heart. Little Icy is also so devious. That's right. I have a cold, and sneezing is instinct. I can't control it. How can you threaten me because of this? Boo! Little Icy is too aggrieved. And then Icy actually sneezed 3 times in a row to prove his helplessness. As a result, none of Sunzhou City's people were spared. They all flew over the railing and made the most intimate contact with the inner area. Everyone present was originally waiting for the competition to begin, but they were surprised to see more than a dozen people fall into the inner area. But the audience who understood the situation quickly reacted and laughed loudly with joy. The part of the audience who didn't know the inside story couldn't help laughing after asking around. On the main stage, Lan Lai laughed until tears welled up in his eyes. He said with a smile, "Isn't the position of Sunzhou City's people good? Why did they all run into the inner arena to watch the battles? The competition hasn't even begun, so why are they so anxious?" Su Nan wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and thought, Sunzhou City's people probably provoked that perverted puppy of Lung Ruoxue again. Alas! Why didn't I have such an awesome beast? Sun Teng rolled his eyes at Lan Lai and said expressionlessly, "What's with your eyes? They're about to fall out." "Ha! Your younger sister is totally exposed." Lan Lai reminded happily. "She's not my younger sister," Sun Teng reminded. Although they had the same father, his mother only gave birth to him, so he wouldn't recognize her as his sister. "Wudi, your fiancé is exposed." Lan Lai turned his head and teased Lung Wudi. "Are you bored?" Lung Wudi said coldly. He had never admitted that that woman was his fiancé. Lan Lai nodded and said very seriously, "How do you know?" "I'm quite bored." "They'll send a message to Uncle Lan later saying that you're bored," Lung Wudi said. No, I was wrong, Lan Lai pleaded quickly. where Lung Ruoxue and the others were. After seeing the condition of Sun Meilin and her group, they smiled happily. Little Icy, you're really sick. Old Zao said worriedly after laughing enough, feeling very happy. Yes, I didn't do it on purpose. They were too light. Icy nodded seriously with some guilt on his face. Lan Ming, who had just returned from drawing lots, happened to hear Icy's words. Cold sweat flowed down his forehead. Too light? Those were mystics. Does this little guy think that mystics are kites? That he could blow them away with a sneeze? Damn it. You've gone too far. Zhou Kuan returned and roared at Lung Ruoxue and the others. How did we go too far? Have you never sneezed, President Zhou? Lung Ruoxue said innocently. Of course I've sneezed before, but my sneeze can't spray mystics out, Zhou Kuan said angrily. He was so angry that he was about to vomit blood. Oh, that can only mean that your sneeze is too weak, President Zhou. You have to continue working hard. Lung Ruoxue encouraged with a very sincere expression on her face. Zhou Kuan was so angry that he couldn't say anything. At the same time, a voice sounded behind him. President, we're back. The dozen or so people whom the sneeze sprayed into the inner area supported each other and stood behind Zhou Kuan while limping. Moreover, each of them stared at Icy with fear, as if they were afraid that Icy would continue to sneeze. Don't be scared. I just caught a cold. I won't sneeze anymore. I'll try my best to bear with it, Icy comforted very kindly. Chapter 398. The Might of a Sneeze 4. You don't have to bear with it. Just don't sneeze at us again, one of them said hurriedly. I'll try my best. Icy said shyly with an embarrassed expression on his face. Lung Ruoxue saw that the host was already on stage and about to speak, so she suppressed her smile and said to Zhou Kuan and the others, the competition is about to begin. Don't block my view. All the mystics from Sunzhou City limped to their seats with trembling bodies. They had fallen quite heavily just now. They had finally returned to their seats, but they still had to suffer such mental torture. Boo! Where's Mei Lin? Zhou Kuan asked when he didn't see Sun Meilin. Miss Sun was taken away by her bodyguards, a mystic explained. The little princess of the Sun family had been humiliated again and in front of the young master of the Lung family. Of course, it was impossible for her to return. Moreover, Sun Meilin probably wouldn't participate in the remaining rounds. Stay here obediently. I'll go see her. Zhou Kuan turned and left. Not long after he left, the host's voice sounded on the stage, and the matches began. Today's matches were divided into 9 groups, and Lung Ruoxue and the others were almost all gathered in the first 5 groups. In other words, 1 or 2 people would be participating in the matches of the first 5 groups. But what was unbelievable was that when it was their turn to go on stage, their opponents actually didn't even want to fight with them and directly admitted defeat. The following few days were the same. When they went on stage, their opponents would directly admit defeat no matter how strong their opponents were. At the residence of Lung Ruoxue and the others, everyone was gathered in the living room, discussing the situation over the past few days. Little Lon Lon, what's going on? Could this be Zhou Kuan and the others' strategy again? Old Zao asked in bewilderment. For some reason, advancing too easily made him feel a little uneasy. I don't know either. This has never happened before, Lan Ming said gloomily. In the past few days, many presidents of Mystic Association branches had congratulated him because Lung Ruoxue and the others had already entered the top 20. Mystics who could enter the top 20 had the chance to be accepted as disciples by the elders of the headquarters. This was a great thing for mystics. But he knew that Lung Ruoxue and the others didn't care about this at all. I still say the same thing. Well, deal with whatever comes. You're thinking too much, Lung Ruoxue said calmly as she leaned in Freak's arms. Shuer is right. It's useless to think about this now. I think those people think they're not our match, so they want to preserve their strength to prepare for the additional round with all their might, Lung Qingtian guessed. Little Lon Lon, tell me more about how the final 20 will compete. Lung Ruoxue said. After advancing to the top 20, There would also be a 3-day break. Moreover, the rules of the competition would be different from the previous rounds. The 20 of you will be divided into 5 groups. Each group will have 4 people to carry out a round-robin match every day. After the round-robin is over, the 2 with the highest points will enter the finals, Lan Ming explained. Why is it so troublesome? Lung Ruoxue said speechlessly. It was another round-robin. Fortunately, it was only groups of 4. She would be depressed to death if it was a 20-people round-robin. This is also for the fairness of the competition. They won't let any talent go to waste, Lan Ming said. In fact, he felt that the schedule of the competition was quite reasonable. Unfortunately, the little girl found it too troublesome. Fair? Why don't I see it? Lung Ruoxue said mockingly. Would Sun Meilin directly enter the top 20 if it was really fair? She originally thought that that woman wouldn't dare to show her face openly after losing her face twice. But she unexpectedly appeared shamelessly. Moreover, she replaced a mystic who voluntarily withdrew from the competition, and that mystic happened to be one of the top 20. Lan Ming really didn't know what to say. He seemed to be often at a loss for words after getting to know Lung Ruoxue and the others. Little Lan, I can't tolerate sand in my eyes, so don't put in good words for the headquarters, Lung Ruoxue said. She had a bad impression of the headquarters to begin with, and now her impression of the headquarters could be said to be even worse because of Sun Meilin. Anyway, she was only willing to participate in the competition for the rewards, so she really didn't take those rotten things from the Mystic Association headquarters to heart. Alas! Lan Ming sighed heavily. Shuer, guess which one of us Sun Meilin will be grouped with? Old Zhao hurriedly tried to smooth things over when he saw that the atmosphere was a little off. It definitely won't be me. Grandpa Lin, and Old Man have a pretty good chance, Lung Ruoxue guessed. Sun Meilin had to be picky when picking those she thought were pushovers. Probably in Sun Meilin's eyes, although her grandfather and the other 2 were relatively strong, they would be easier to deal with, so it was very possible that Sun Meilin would choose one of the 3 to be her opponent. Why not me? Aren't I the weakest among us? Old Zhao asked curiously. In fact, he really hoped to meet that annoying woman in the group round-robin. He had to use his giant dragons but to flatten her for all her smugness. She won't choose an opponent with a dragon, Lung Ruoxue said understandingly. Ordinary beasts would find it difficult to resist the might of a dragon unless Sun Meilin could possess a transcendent divine beast. They are too gutless. I'm not afraid of those dragons, Icy interrupted. Chapter 399. Whoever possesses a dragon is supreme. 1. There are too few of your race. How many are there? Old Zhao asked curiously. If every puppy in their race is so powerful. If we could contract a few. He began to daydream. At present, I'm the only one in this world. I'm not sure about other places, so don't you have any ideas about our race? My race won't contract with humans easily, Icy reminded Old Zhao after seeing through his thoughts. Old Zhao was a little embarrassed. Could this puppy read minds too? Lung Ruoxue looked at Old Zhao and couldn't help laughing. Old Zhao's thoughts were written all over his face. Who couldn't tell? Lass, you're laughing at me. Old Zhao pouted with some displeasure. How am I? I'm laughing at Icy for being too smart. Lung Ruoxue explained with a light smile. Alright, you're an old man. Why you like a child? Lung Qingtian couldn't bear watching anymore. Old Zhao sulked and stopped talking. Shuer, the competition will begin again the day after tomorrow. Let's all have a good rest for the next 2 days. Lung Qingtian looked at his granddaughter. The matches 2 days later would definitely not be as relaxed as before. Moreover, they didn't know what Zhou Kun and his group would do again, so they had to be more careful both in the open and in the dark. Yes, I've decided to use it all to sleep for the next 2 days. Don't disturb me, Lung Ruoxue said to everyone. In fact, she mainly said it to Lan Ming. Sleep? Do you want to be a pig? Lan Ming said in disbelief with several black lines hanging on his forehead. How do you know? Lung Ruoxue asked with a smile as if he had guessed correctly. You want to sleep for 2 days. What are you if you're not a pig? Lan Ming was a little speechless. This girl really can sleep. But why aren't Leng Qingtian and the others surprised at all? Are they used to it? His imagination ran wild. Aren't you ignorant? I cultivate in my sleep. Leng Ruoxue said calmly. Cultivate in your sleep? Do you think you're a beast? Lan Ming couldn't help asking. He really didn't know what to say about Leng Ruoxue's line of thought. Why was this girl different from others? Beasts can, so naturally I can too. Leng Ruoxue smiled mischievously. That's right. You can do a lot of things while sleeping, Icy said. His greatest hobby was sleeping. I can't win against you all. I admit defeat, Lan Ming said weakly. Alas. Recently he seemed to be bullied by this puppy all the time, but he didn't dare to resist at all. Boo. He really couldn't afford to offend this perverted puppy. Take your time chatting. I'm going to bed. Leng Ruoxue dragged Freak back to their room. After returning to their room, Leng Ruoxue brought Freak and Icy into the bracelet with a thought. Master! Icy pounced toward Empty as soon as he entered the bracelet. Icy, you're here? Empty had been staying in the space for the past few days and cultivating every day. So his injuries were much better, and his body had become more condensed. At least Icy wouldn't pass through his body anymore. Although it was still difficult to carry Icy, he was already very happy. Schwerer is really my benefactor. Master. Icy rubbed against Empty's body happily. He was even happier that his master's injuries had improved. Empty, what are you doing? Leng Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. She thought Empty was cultivating, but what was going on? Why were all her beasts looking at her with hidden bitterness, their eyes even faintly moist? I'm conducting special training for your beasts. They are too weak. Empty said matter-of-factly, not feeling like he was overstepping his bounds at all. Master! Charm and the other beasts rushed into Leng Ruoxue's arms after hearing what Empty said. They acted coquettishly and complained to her. The scene was very spectacular. Don't spoil them anymore, Empty reminded. Empty, why don't you cultivate properly? Leng Ruoxue said implicitly as 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down her forehead. She originally didn't want Empty to know about this space, but after discussing it with Freak, she decided to tell him. After all, if Empty continued to follow her while they kept this secret from him, it would be very inconvenient for them to enter the space. So she only had 2 choices. She could either tell him or forbid him from following. It was obviously impossible to forbid him from following, so she had to tell him. It's tiring to cultivate all the time. Of course, you have to relax appropriately during cultivation. Empty said with a smile. Is your method of relaxation to give special training to my beasts? Leng Ruoxue said speechlessly. Thousands of silver wolves, phoenixes, some dragons, Feng Zhan, Charm, and other beasts that had yet to be contracted all joined the special training team, but she, the master, didn't know it all. Master, actually we did it willingly, Charm, who knew his master's thoughts very well, said honestly. They wanted to give their master a surprise. But this man's training method was really too terrifying, and they couldn't take it anymore, so they pretended to be pitiful and complained to her. Schwer, don't worry and leave them to me. They are too weak. I guarantee that I will raise their strength to a higher level in the shortest time possible, Empty said confidently. Alas, how many years had it been since he had such passion? He finally found some of the feelings from back then. Empty, it depends on their will. Leng Ruoxue didn't want to force her beasts. Do you still want to protect your master? Empty questioned loudly. He knew that this was the weakness of these little beasts. Yes, the beasts said in unison. I want to protect Mommy too. A childish voice rang out. Yes, this kitten of yours is not bad. Empty looked at the fiery red kitten with rich spiritual energy and praised him. Chapter 400. Whoever possesses a dragon is supreme. 2. Empty, he can't undergo special training. He's not a beast. Leng Ruoxue hurriedly picked up Little Fire. Oh, it's obviously a cat. Empty said doubtfully. His bright starry eyes kept looking at the little red cat, wanting to find some clues from him. Master, he's the spirit of a heavenly material and earthly treasure. Icy rolled his eyes. Alas, Master's eyesight has regressed. Really? Empty looked at the small red kitten curiously, his handsome face full of surprise. Wasn't this girl's luck a little too good? I'm a cat. Meow, meow. Little Fire protested. He even deliberately meowed twice to prove that he was a real cat. Little Fire, you're not a cat. 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down Lung Ruox's forehead. She didn't know when Little Fire had started treating himself as a cat. Alas, she was really helpless against his persistence. If Mommy says so. Little Fire said aggrievedly, his big pink eyes brimming with tears. I swear, your beasts are all very interesting. Empty couldn't help laughing. He finally realized that these beasts of Schwer, apart from being scheming, also liked to pretend to be pitiful in front of their master. Yes. Lung Ruoxue looked at Little Fire with a slight headache. This little fellow actually learned this move. Alas, was she destined to be eaten up by her beasts? And that damn freak. Empty, since they want you to conduct special training, then teach them. But you have to show mercy. Lung Ruoxue reminded. Don't worry. I will show mercy, Empty said with a smile. Lung Ruoxue nodded and then pulled Freak into the purple bamboo house. 2 days later, Lung Qingtian and the others gathered in the courtyard. Little Lon Lon, can you stop pacing around? Old Zao couldn't take it anymore. He was about to faint from Lon Ming spinning around. Why aren't Little Snowy and the others out yet? It's almost time, Lon Ming said anxiously. The group round robin would officially begin today. They should have arrived at the venue earlier, but that girl actually hadn't come out yet even though the time for the matches was approaching. Is she still not awake? He couldn't help guessing. In fact, he originally wanted to wake them up, but these people all stopped him from going. They said that he couldn't barge into a girl's room as a man. Boo! They were thinking too much. He just wanted to call from the door. Calm down. Schwer has a sense of propriety. She won't be too late, Lung Qingtian said. Sigh. All right then. Let's wait another 10 minutes. We'll go to the competition venue first if they're not out yet. Otherwise, someone might think we've given up, Lon Ming said helplessly with a heavy sigh. There's no need to wait. We're out. Lung Ruox's voice sounded from behind everyone. Little ancestor, you're finally out. Lon Ming sighed in relief. Little Lon Lon, calm down, Lung Ruoxue teased. Grandpa, this is for you, Lung Ruoxue said to Lung Qingtian and the others and handed each of them a small bamboo tube. The bamboo tubes were small and exquisite, translucent like white jade, and looked very beautiful. Lin Liang opened the bamboo tube and took out a needle as thin as a cow's hair. Ruoxue, what is this? He asked in puzzlement. This needle was about 5 centimeters long, transparent, thin, and soft. This small bamboo tube actually contained nearly 10,000 such tiny needles. Hidden weapon. Lung Ruoxue said lightly. How do we use this? Feng Jing asked with interest. He didn't expect Ruoxue to disappear for 2 days just to refine hidden weapons. You can usually hang this bamboo tube on your body as an ornament, and you can use it as a hidden weapon at critical moments. Do you see this button? As long as you press it, hundreds of needles will be shot out in succession, which will definitely turn the enemy into a porcupine. Moreover, the needles are coated with poison, so you have to use it carefully. Lung Ruoxue pointed at an inconspicuous little bump at the bottom of the bamboo tube. So powerful? Lung Qingtian and the others were surprised. These were really too useful for them. In fact, no matter what equipment it was, they should not seek the best but only what was most suitable for them. These bamboo tubes looked very simple, but they were convenient for them and wouldn't attract too much attention. Little Snowy, what about mine? Lon Ming said bitterly while looking at the bamboo tubes in everyone's hands covetously. He liked bamboo the most, so he liked the bamboo tubes in Lung Ruox's hands just now. But what he didn't expect was that these small bamboo tubes could actually fire hidden weapons. It was really too rare. You are already a mystic monarch, so there's no need for you to have one, Lung Ruoxue said. She had only refined hidden weapons for the upcoming matches to give everyone an additional guarantee, so she had never considered Lan Ming. I need one too. Little Snowy, you can't favor one over the other. Lan Ming said aggrievedly with a long face. Why didn't she give him one when everyone else had one? Boo. I'll give you mine. Lung Ruoxue said helplessly. She took out the bamboo tube she had prepared for herself and handed it to Lan Ming. Alas. Lan Ming must have been swapped. Hee little Snowy, I know you're the best. Lan Ming didn't stand on ceremony at all. He happily took the bamboo tube Lung Ruoxue handed him and placed it directly on his waist. Little Lan, don't use it recklessly. There's no antidote for the poison on the needles, Lung Ruoxue reminded. No antidote? Then what if? Lan Ming only spoke halfway before staring at Lung Ruoxue fiercely. That person will definitely die, so don't use it lightly unless it concerns your life and death, Lung Ruoxue said. Oh, I understand. I won't use it recklessly, Lan Ming said fearfully. It was a poison that would definitely kill. Whoever got hit would be unlucky. Ruoxue, I took a needle just now. Will I be okay? Lin Liang asked fearfully. Boo. Why didn't the naughty girl say so earlier? It's okay. The poison won't act unless it enters the body, Lung Ruoxue comforted. Chapter 401. Whoever possesses a dragon is supreme. 3. Phew, that's good. Lin Liang was relieved. Little Snowy, let's go. Lan Ming suggested. Let's go. Lung Ruoxue nodded slightly. Everyone left their residence and headed straight for the competition venue. After entering the competition venue, Lan Ming went to draw lots as usual, and Lung Ruoxue and the others naturally went to their seats to wait for him. Wow, there are even more people today, Old Zhao said excitedly after sitting down. The competition hadn't yet officially begun, but the audience seats were already full. Moreover, some of the spectators were not even sitting but actually standing, and the atmosphere in the venue was abnormally fiery. What strange country bumpkins. Are these few people enough to scare you? There will be more people when the finals of the top 10 are held. An arrogant voice sounded in their ears. Everyone knew who the owner of the voice was without even looking up, so they naturally chose to ignore it. Old Zhao lowered his head and whispered into Icy's little ear, Little Icy, sneeze a few more times. Icy only smiled mischievously and didn't say anything. Hey, I'm talking to you. Don't pretend to be deaf and mute, Sun Meilin roared angrily. Lung Ruoxue raised her head doubtfully and glanced at Sun Meilin, only to find that there were two tall and burly men beside her. The two burly men had stern faces and looked condescending. Their auras were sharp and oppressive, so it was obvious at a glance that they were not weak. No wonder Sun Meilin dares to provoke us again. She has backing now. They should be bodyguards. Little Icy, what is the level of those two? Lung Ruoxue asked softly curiously. Although she could tell that they weren't weak, she couldn't tell the exact level. After all, her current strength was too low. Just 2 mystic sovereigns, Icy said disdainfully. 2 mere mystic sovereigns want to put on airs in front of me. How unforgivable. The Sun family is actually using mystic sovereigns as Sun Meilin's bodyguards. How promising. Lung Ruoxue said mockingly. The status of mystic sovereigns on the boundless heaven continent was extremely high, second only to mystic supremacies. So she didn't understand very well why mystic sovereign powerhouses actually lowered themselves to be bodyguards for the daughter of an aristocratic family. It was really getting worse and worse. If little Snowy doesn't like them, it'll make them disappear, Icy said with a naughty smile. After speaking, he actually sneezed more than 10 times in a row and blew the unprepared Sun Meilin, the 2 mystic sovereigns, and the people of Sunzhou City into the inner area again. Their situation this time was obviously more miserable than the last time. Not only were they stacked on all fours, but even their clothes broke into pieces. The competition venue immediately fell silent. Everyone was dumbfounded. After a while, someone took the lead in laughing. Immediately, thunderous laughter resounded in the competition venue. Ha! Old Zao was laughing so hard in his seat that he was swaying back and forth. He would have rolled on the ground if it wasn't for the lack of space. Lung Qingtian and the others also smiled happily, just not as exaggerated as Old Zao. Lung Ruoxue looked at Icy with a face full of black lines, cold sweat flowing down her heart. Little Icy is really too evil. But it was also Sun Meilin's fault for not having a good memory. As the saying went, only make the same mistake twice. But Sun Meilin obviously didn't understand the truth that things shouldn't be done 3 times. She thought that she could be smug again with 2 mystic sovereigns backing her up. Great, it was another tragedy. Alas. To be honest, she felt some pity for Sun Meilin because, this time, Sun Meilin. Alas. Little Snowy, and back. Lan Ming's expression was a little strange as he appeared in front of Lung Ruoxue and the others. His heart was racing. These people really don't stop. Why does something happen every time I draw lots for them? Think about it. What kind of feeling would it be if more than a dozen naked people suddenly fell from the sky while you were drawing lots? It was really shocking. At the time, they were all dumbfounded. Hee, little Lon Lon, what happened just now was exciting, wasn't it? Old Zao said wretchedly with a smug face. Little Lon Lon must have seen it more clearly in the inner area. Amazing! Zhou Kun's face turned green. Moreover, Lan Ming couldn't say it. Thief, what's there to be shy about? It's just a few naked people. Is there a need for that reaction? Everyone saw it. But I understand. I understand. Old Zao said understandingly. Lan Ming was speechless. Old Zao was also very powerful. Little Icy, you're really too amazing. Even mystic sovereigns can't resist your sneeze. 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down Lan Ming's forehead. He really didn't know what breed this puppy was. This puppy was actually so powerful. In the future, he wouldn't dare to look down on this puppy even more. Ooh, this puppy was really too terrifying. Among the people present, there were many who had the same thoughts as Lan Ming. Some people had even secretly decided that they had to take a detour when they saw this puppy in the future to avoid conflict with him. On the main stage, Lan Lai was stunned. He couldn't laugh this time. It was not that he didn't want to laugh, but he was thinking about Lung Ruoxue's puppy. This puppy is really too amazing. Ooh. He also wanted a beast that was so awesome that it could blow away mystic sovereigns with just a few sneezes. If he had such a beast, his old man could forget about bullying him in the future. Thinking of this, he couldn't help fantasizing. How rare that you didn't laugh at something so funny. Lung Wudi said lightly, his handsome face full of teasing. In thinking about something, Lan Lai said very seriously. Don't tell me you want to get such a powerful puppy too? Lung Wudi said in realization. How do you know? Lan Lai asked in disbelief. Because your desire is written all over your face, and you're drooling a lot, Sun Ting interrupted. When did I drool? Lan Ming actually really wiped the corner of his mouth. But he realized that he had been fooled and couldn't help roaring. Chapter 402. Whoever possesses a dragon is supreme. 4. Shoo, be quiet. Do you want everyone to hear you? Sun Ting raised his eyebrows and reminded him. I'm not drooling. Don't wrong me. My image can't be destroyed in your hands, Lan Lai whispered with a very serious expression on his face. Do you have an image? Sun Ting asked in puzzlement. The first time he met Lan Lai, he was on the streets. Moreover, he was being chased and beaten by his father at the time. The image of the father and son back then was still deeply imprinted in his mind, and it was still so clear. So he didn't think that Lan Lai had any image left to speak of. Of course I do. I'm a handsome and peerless beautiful youth loved by everyone. Lan Lai said narcissistically. Before he could finish speaking, Lung Wudi and Sun Ting turned their heads to the other side. You really don't give me any face. Lan Lai said angrily. Boo. These 2 detestable fellows. The Sun family probably hates Lung Ruoxue and the others to the core now. Lung Wudi ignored Lan Lai's anger and began chatting with Sun Ting. Yes, isn't that obvious? Sun Ting nodded. Sun Meilin was the prettiest among the many girls in the Sun family. The Sun family had always regarded her as the most important chess piece. Otherwise, why would they spoil her to the heavens? But this chess piece was already stinky now, so I wonder who the Sun family will marry her to? Lung Wudi asked curiously. That will depend on who is the most useful to them, Sun Teng said lightly. Hey, stop talking about that woman, okay? Lan Lai protested. He hated that woman who made him lose his appetite. The competition is about to begin. Lan Lai added. Lung Wudi and Sun Teng looked toward the inner area. As expected, the host was already standing on a high stage, trembling with fear. His face was very pale, and his body was swaying like a willow in the wind. At the seats of Lung Ruoxue and the others. What's wrong with this host? Lung Qingdan asked in puzzlement while looking at the obviously abnormal host. Who knows, Lung Ruoxue said without much interest. At the same time, the host spoke. Today is the first round of the group round robin. The competition officially begins. The host said a few words briefly and then ran off the stage impatiently and disappeared. Is there a man-eating tiger behind? Why did he run away so quickly? Old Zhao asked in bewilderment. It was too strange. Probably. Lung Ruoxue teased. Lung Ruoxue, my aunt wants to see you and that puppy. Zhou Kun appeared in front of Lung Ruoxue and the others, slightly gloating. President Zhou, can't you see that the competition has already started? I'm sorry, this young lady isn't free, Lung Ruoxue said without giving him face, not even bothering to look at Zhou Kun. Lung Ruoxue, you will regret it if you don't go, Zhou Kun said fiercely. Then he flicked his sleeves and left. I'm afraid you'll regret it if you go. Old Zhao couldn't help muttering. Sun Malin's mother is here. Little Snowy, you have to be careful. Lan Ming said with a solemn expression. Sun Malin's mother was notorious for being sinister and cunning. Moreover, her methods of dealing with people were extremely vicious. Her mother? Is her mother very fierce? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. How should I put it? Her mother and President Wu have a very close relationship, so staying in the Mystic Association headquarters is like staying in her home, Lan Ming said uncomfortably. He believed that Lung Ruoxue would understand what he meant. Little Snowy, don't be scared. She's just an old woman. I'll resolve her with a sneeze, Icy promised and patted his chest with his little paw. Little Lon Lon, did you hear that? Lung Ruoxue smiled and caressed Icy's soft fur. You're amazing, okay? Lan Ming said helplessly. Alas, what a powerful puppy. It's good that you know. Icy's proud little tail perked up. He was so smug. Lan Ming turned his head to Old Man and reminded, by the way, Old Man, you and Sun Meilin are in the same group. But she has lost so much face, so who knows if she'll still participate in the competition. You have to be careful if she participates. Yes, when will I be appearing? Old Man asked. You're third, Lan Ming said as he looked at the schedule. There were a total of 5 groups now, and there would be 10 matches every day added together, so they were arranged to compete on the same arena. This way, the audience wouldn't miss any exciting matches. Little Snowy, you're in the same group as Old Zhao. Yi Chen and Feng Jing are in the same group, and Leng Qingtian and Lin Liang are in the same group, Lan Ming continued with a helpless expression. Oh, that means we can advance as long as we defeat the other 2 opponents. Lung Ruoxue said understandingly. This saved a lot of trouble. Not bad. She was very satisfied with this arrangement. Little Snowy, your other 2 opponents aren't weaker than you. If they have any secret weapons, I'm afraid it won't be easy for you to obtain victory, Lan Ming analyzed. He wasn't worried about the strength of Lung Ruoxue and the others. What he was more worried about was that those 2 people would be bribed by Zhou Kun and the Sun family. That would be very disadvantageous for Lung Ruoxue and the others. Old Man Little Lon Lon, you'll age faster if you think too much. Lung Ruoxue teased happily. Lan Ming didn't know what to do with Lung Ruoxue. Little Lon Lon, who's my first opponent? Old Zhao was very curious. Wouldn't he be able to fight less since he was with the girl? That was great. Sunzhou City's Fan Kun, Lan Ming said. 2 of the top 20 were from Sunzhou City. One was Sun Meilin, and the other was Fan Kun. Although Fan Kun wasn't as strong as Ni Tao, he was much stronger than old Zhao. For this reason, Zhou Kun probably found a way to get Fan Kun into this group. Chapter 403. Whoever possesses a dragon is supreme. 5. Oh. Old Zhao nodded nonchalantly. Fan Kun should have a secret weapon in his hands, so don't be careless, Lan Ming couldn't help reminding. Yes, little Lan, it's my turn. Fan Kun, here I come, old Zhao nodded and said loudly, his face full of excitement. The first match had already ended while they were talking. Old Zhao also heard the referee calling his name, so he dashed out and jumped onto the arena. Old Zhao crossed his arms and stood proudly on the arena. He shouldn't lose to others in disposition. Even though the opponent was an elementary mystic, and his strength was inferior to him, he absolutely couldn't lose to him in terms of aura. Old Zhao, admit defeat. Fan Kun raised his head arrogantly. This opening speech was so familiar. Old Zhao couldn't help thinking that someone had said this to him in a certain match. But he won in the end, hee. Do you think you're fit to call me Old Zhao? You have to call me Grandpa Zhao. Old Zhao roared at the top of his lungs. Immediately, his roar reverberated throughout the entire competition venue. You don't know what's good for you. Fan Kun roared as though it was all for old Zhao's good. You're right. I've lived for so long and I really don't know what's good or bad. But I have a sense of shame. I won't run around the inner area naked, old Zhao teased happily. That Fan Kun was furious. If it weren't for the competition, he would have chosen to leave like the others. Unfortunately, President Zhou didn't allow him to retreat, so he had to bite the bullet and go into battle. Come on. I'm not afraid of you. Old Zhao danced around and winked provocatively. Old Zhao, you're dead meat, Fan Kun said furiously and summoned his pet beast. His pet beast was actually a nauseating earth dragon. Its hundreds of meters long winding body coiled together, and its head and tail couldn't be distinguished at all. There was a faint black liquid flowing in its dark red body, and the mucus on its body kept falling onto the stage, emitting waves of stench. Damn, this thing of yours is really too disgusting. Hurry up and take it back. Old Zhao covered his nose, feeling that it was unbearable. Damn, why would anyone take in such a disgusting pet beast? It's too deceitful. Not only was old Zhao unable to take it, but even the referee on the arena covered his nose and hid far away. Many people in the audience began to vomit. Why is it this disgusting thing again? Lung Ruoxue looked at the enormous thing on the arena and frowned with some displeasure, her face full of disdain. This earth dragon reminded her of the one she had encountered at the bottom of the volcano. This one seemed to be stronger than that other earth dragon, but it was equally disgusting. Why does this earth dragon look so familiar? Lan Ming murmured to himself, frowning in thought. Familiar? You've seen it before? Lung Ruoxue asked doubtfully. I remember now. I've seen this earth dragon in the Sun family residence before, Lan Ming said after thinking for a long time. Little Snowy, this earth dragon is already a transcendent divine beast. It probably came out to deal with little Zhao's dragon, Icy suddenly said. In fact, he was also a little puzzled because he was really curious how this earth dragon became a transcendent divine beast. Logically speaking, it was impossible for earth dragons to advance to transcendent divine beasts. Then what should we do now? Lan Ming asked worriedly. Will old Zhao be in danger? It's okay. Don't worry, Lung Ruoxue comforted. She knew very well how many trump cards old Zhao had. Don't worry about it? Lan Ming was speechless. Isn't this girl too confident in old Zhao? Just as Lan Ming's imagination was running wild, and he couldn't figure it out no matter what, suddenly, thunderous exclamations erupted from the audience. Heavens! 5 dragons! How can we still live? Wow, it's really too scary. Lan Ming heard the discussions in the audience and looked up at the arena. His eyes immediately widened, and he took a long time to recover. Where did so many dragons come from? Lan Ming was so excited that he stammered, his handsome face full of disbelief. Of course we raised them ourselves, Lung Ruoxue said nonchalantly. Raise them themselves? They can raise dragons? Lan Ming was depressed. He also wanted to raise one himself, but he didn't know where to find one. On the arena, old Zhao looked at the dragons flying around him, protecting him like the stars surrounding the moon. He was so happy. This feeling was too flashy. But his opponent, Fan Kun, was not in such a good mood. At this moment, Fan Kun's face was pale. His body, which was not very strong to begin with, was trembling like a fallen leaf in the wind as his legs softened bit by bit. Finally, he sat on the floor of the arena without any backbone. There was even liquid flowing out between his legs. The might of the dragons was really too strong. He was already scared silly. The originally proud Earth Dragon was not much better than Fan Kun. It was so scared that it didn't dare to move as soon as the 5 dragons appeared. It wouldn't be afraid if there was only one dragon, but there were 5 of them. In fact, this was also because the level of the Earth Dragon's bloodline was too low. If it were other transcendent divine beasts, although the bloodline pressure would definitely be there when facing 5 dragons, it wouldn't necessarily be without the strength to fight. Children, destroy these 2 disgusting and embarrassing things for Master, old Zhao ordered with a smile on his face. Yes, Master, the 5 dragons answered in unison and sprayed out several dragon breaths. In the blink of an eye, Fan Kun and the Earth Dragon disappeared from the arena without any resistance. Old Zhao turned his head and said to the referee with a smile, "Referee, do I need to wait another 10 minutes?" Chapter 404, Whoever Possesses a Dragon is Supreme, 6. No need, the referee hurriedly said, so scared that he was trembling. Fuck, what's the big deal with having dragons? You can't scare me like this, he couldn't help cursing. But after thinking about it, he began to cry in his head again. Boo, it's great to have a dragon. Whoever possesses a dragon is supreme. Oh, but you haven't announced that I won yet. Old Zhao said aggrievedly. He couldn't leave the arena without the referee announcing the result. Boo, old Zhao won, the referee said as he wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. I won. Old Zhao walked down the arena happily and swaggered back to his seat under the jealous and envious gazes of the audience. The 5 dragons also transformed and surrounded him. Plus, can we advance directly if you kill your opponent later? Old Zhao asked hurriedly after sitting down. Lung Ruoxue nodded and said coldly, yes, I'll kill him as long as he doesn't admit defeat. Little Snowy, we can't be so violent and bloodthirsty. Lan Ming was at a loss for words. Can you not be so arrogant? In fact, he was wrong. Lung Ruoxue was just trying to save trouble. She was really not arrogant. After old Zhao finished his match, it was old man's turn. But after he went on the arena, his opponent said something to him and then directly admitted defeat. Old man walked down the arena gloomily, returned to his seat, and sat down without a word. What's wrong with you, old fellow? You're still frowning after winning, old Zhao asked in surprise. This was too unlike the old man he knew. You still have the cheek to say that even though it's all because of you. Old man said through gritted teeth. His opponent was about the same strength as him. He originally wanted to have a good spar with his opponent, but he didn't expect him to admit defeat. Alas, it was really infuriating. I didn't ask him to admit defeat. What does it have to do with me? Old Zhao pouted aggrievedly. If you didn't show 5 dragons at once, he wouldn't have admitted defeat. Old man roared. What was the point of the competition if people kept admitting defeat like this? These people really had no professional ethics and were not dedicated at all. He was full of complaints now. What did that person say to you? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. He asked me if I had a dragon. I was honest and said yes. Then he directly admitted defeat. Boo-hoo, old man was regretful. If he had known earlier, he would have said no. Why was he so honest? Do you have a dragon too? Lan Ming thought he heard wrongly and couldn't help asking. Boo, could all these people have dragons? Did dragons really become cabbages? If this old thing has dragons, why wouldn't I? Old man said, very displeased. That's not what I mean. Lan Ming was a little helpless. He knew that these two old men were a little at odds, but he didn't expect that old man would even fuss over his words. Let me tell you, Brat Lan. I have everything this old thing has, old man said angrily. He was really angry. Got it. Lan Ming nodded repeatedly like a little wife. Boo, he didn't dare to spout nonsense. Ha! Lung Ruoxue laughed disloyally when she saw Lan Ming's aggrieved expression. Little Snowy, you really don't have any sympathy, Lan Ming complained, his eyes full of bitterness. Ha! It's good that you know, Lung Ruoxue said happily. Ruoxue, it's my turn, Lin Liang said. Okay. Lung Ruoxue nodded slightly. After speaking, Lin Liang stood up and walked toward the arena. Lin Liang stood on the arena, but his opponent had not arrived yet. After waiting for a few minutes, the opponent finally came. Lin Liang heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, he was really afraid that this opponent would shrink back at the last minute. Lin Liang's opponent was a man in his 30s. He had delicate facial features and a tall figure. His strength was on par with him, and they were both elementary mystics. Before the battle, I have a question for you. You have to answer me honestly, the man asked cautiously, his expression abnormally serious. What is it? Tell me. Lin Liang's heart skipped a beat, and a bad feeling emerged in his heart. I want to know, do you have a dragon? The man asked carefully. Don't be scared. I don't have a dragon, Lin Liang replied after being stunned for half a second. It wasn't that he was dishonest. It was just that he really wanted to compete with this person. Referee, I admit defeat, the man said directly to the referee after hearing what Lin Liang said. Lin Liang was dumbfounded. He said there was no dragon. Was he wrong? I said I don't have a dragon, Lin Liang said with certainty. So what? What if you're lying to me? The man's face was full of disbelief. Moreover, the more Lin Liang said he didn't have one, the more he didn't believe him. Besides, he had already decided that he wouldn't fight Lin Liang no matter what, regardless if Lin Liang had a dragon or not. He didn't want to lose his life just to show off. Hearing this, Lin Liang was completely depressed. After the referee announced Lin Liang's victory, he lowered his head, returned to his seat in a depressed mood, and sat down without a word. Haha, don't tell me that Brat Lin is like me. Old man looked at Lin Liang, who was in the same boat, and his mood became much better. I'm different from you. I told him that I didn't have a dragon, Lin Liang said gloomily. Then why did he admit defeat? Old man couldn't understand. What was there to be afraid of when there were no dragons? How could a mystic be so timid? He didn't believe me, Lin Liang said helplessly. Alas, those mystics were all frightened now. It probably wouldn't be easy to trick them into fighting with him. That's good. We can save time, old Zhao said happily. Save your head. Lin Liang and old man roared in unison. Mystics who could enter the top 20 basically had some strength, so they cherished this opportunity and wanted to have good fights with them. However, they didn't fight them at all. Alas. Chapter 405. Don't be afraid, I don't have a dragon, 1. Don't be angry. At this point, being angry won't help. Lan Ming comforted them. Alas. He didn't expect things to turn out like this either. Old Zhao's 5 dragons scared everyone, and no one dared to take action anymore. This was likely something no one expected. Moreover, this time's mystic competition was probably the most exciting but least suspenseful one in all the previous years. Alas! Everyone couldn't help sighing, and no one said anything. Immediately afterward, Lung Qingtian, Feng Jing, and the first elder also went on stage. They also encountered the same situation, and their opponents even admitted defeat without saying anything to them. Shuer, I think we can pack up and get ready to go back, Lung Qingtian said with a black face, very displeased. He was full of anger now because his opponent immediately admitted defeat without even saying a word. Boo! Grandpa Freak and I have yet to compete. Lung Ruoxue reminded as 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down her forehead. Alas. Grandpa is also agitated. What compete? You'll just take a leaf out of our book, go up and then come back, Lung Qinghan said. Ah. Lung Ruoxue was speechless. Grandpa, can you not be so direct? Little Snowy, it's your turn, Lan Ming reminded. Okay, I'm going then. Lung Ruoxue stood up, looked at everyone, and slowly walked onto the arena. On the arena, Lung Ruoxue looked at her opponent helplessly and pondered in her heart. Am I that scary? Such a strong man is actually so scared that his face is pale, his body is trembling, and he's looking at me with a face full of fear as if I had done something heinous. Referee, I admit defeat, the man hurriedly said as he stole a glance at Lung Ruoxue. Wait, I don't have a dragon. What are you afraid of? Lung Ruoxue asked, unwilling to give up. You have a dog. It's even more terrifying than a dragon, the man said in horror while looking at Icy, who was lying on Lung Ruoxue's shoulder and pretending to be asleep with his eyes closed. At this moment, seemingly hearing the man's words, Icy's little ears twitched, scaring the man away. Lung Ruoxue looked at the man disappear at the speed of light and turned her head helplessly to the referee. Lung Ruoxue, victory! The referee hurriedly shouted and then swiftly left the arena. Lung Ruoxue walked off the arena and returned to her seat. Ah, lass, you're back, old Zhao said with a smile, in a very good mood. Yes. Lung Ruoxue nodded. Schwer, it's my turn. Freak hugged Lung Ruoxue gently. Lung Ruoxue looked at Freak, who had already walked onto the arena, and said to Lung Qingtian and the others, Okay, Grandpa. We can go back. Let's go to the passageway and wait for Yi Chen. Lung Qingtian stood up. Okay. Everyone stood up and walked toward the passageway to the inner area as if there was no one else around. When Lung Ruoxue and the others arrived, Freak happened to walk out. Without a doubt, his opponent had directly admitted defeat. Everyone smiled at each other and returned to their residence together. In the courtyard, everyone divided the work and busied themselves preparing a feast. Little Snowy, I've lived for more than 30 years, and this is the first time I've seen a mystic competition that can be won so easily. The previous competitions were very intense. Lan Ming felt the unfriendly gazes of everyone, and the pressure multiplied, so he quickly corrected himself. I'm not saying that this competition isn't intense enough, but the suspense isn't much. Do you mean that this is all our fault? Lung Ruoxue glanced at Lan Ming lightly. No. The others are too weak, Lan Ming said ingratiatingly, his little heart thumping nervously. How many days until the competition ends? Lung Ruoxue asked. Lan Ming calculated the time and said, Probably another half a month. That long? Lung Ruoxue frowned slightly. It's always been like this, Lan Ming explained. At this moment, someone knocked on the door. President Lan, I am Elder Su. An old voice sounded outside. Elder Su? What is he doing here? Lan Ming was a little puzzled. Elder Su was trusted aide and usually ignored him when he saw him. Now, he actually took the initiative to look for him. It must be nothing good. You'll know when you let him in. Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile. Okay, I'll let him in now. Lan Ming went to open the door. President Lan, you're all here. This is great. Elder Su stretched his neck out from outside the door and looked in, his face full of flattery. May I know why you're here, Elder Su? Lan Ming said with a spurious smile. President Lan, are you planning to let me stand outside? Elder Su asked with a smile and didn't answer Lan Ming's question. Elder Su, please enter. Lan Ming stretched out his hand and made an inviting gesture. Congratulations, everyone, Elder Su said immediately when he walked into the courtyard and saw Lung Ruoxue and the others. President Lan, why did you let a stranger in so casually? Lung Ruoxue said with a stern face, a little displeased. Elder Su was stunned. Did he hear it right? What did that ugly woman say? He is Elder Su of the headquarters, Lan Ming said while suppressing his laughter. The headquarters is really too rude. Why did they send a loser? 1? We want eldering 2. Lung Ruoxue pretended to be stupid. My last name has a different character from Lu's. Elder Su explained very patiently, but he was quite dissatisfied in his heart. He wouldn't have come if not for the president. He definitely wouldn't be here to be angered by an elementary mystic. What a bumpkin from who knows where. So uncultured. They're the same, no difference. Lung Ruoxue said with a silly smile. 1. Su has the same sound as lose in Chinese. 2. He means win in Chinese. Chapter 406. Don't be afraid, I don't have a dragon. 2. They are different. Elder Su roared angrily. Wow. Freak, this old man is so fierce. Lung Ruoxue was so scared that she hurriedly hid in Freak's arms to seek comfort. Damn old man, why are you scaring my woman? She's very timid. Freak threatened fiercely while hugging Lung Ruoxue tightly and glaring at the uninvited Elder Su with a displeased face. Elder Su was speechless, and his forehead was full of black lines. He didn't have any inkling that Lung Ruoxue was timid. How could someone who dared to offend the Sun family be timid? Alas! Elder Su even had the intention to bang his head against the wall when he encountered these unreasonable people. I didn't do it on purpose, Elder Su said, wanting to cry. Boo-hoo. He really regretted coming here to suffer this. Yes, you did it on purpose, Freak said with certainty. I really didn't. Elder Su felt wronged. He clearly didn't say or do anything here. Damn old man, tell me quickly. Why you here? Hurry up and scram after speaking, Freak said irritably. I'm here to inform you that all the competitors have forfeited except for the 8 of you, so the group stage has been cancelled. The finals will begin tomorrow. Elder Su was so angry that he was about to vomit blood. But he still had to forcefully finish what he wanted to say. Who asked him to take on this task? Boo. Regret. Oh, that's all? Freak asked lightly. Elder Su wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and quickly said, yes. Alas. Why did this man give him so much pressure? Hurry up and scram before I kick you out. Freak roared with widened eyes. You're too rude, Elder Su said angrily. He was an elder of the Mystic Association headquarters and a trusted aide of the president. Everyone was respectful no matter where he went. He had never received such treatment. Politeness is for people, Freak said lightly. What he implied was that Elder Su wasn't human. Who? You barbarians. Elder Su almost fainted from anger. Are you really waiting for me to kick you? Freak frowned in puzzlement. Hee little Chin, don't kick. I'll just sneeze, interrupted Icy, who was watching the commotion by the side, unwilling to be left out. Elder Su was about to go crazy from anger, but he disappeared with a whoosh. Little Icy is still the most powerful, Freak said with a smile. Of course, hee. Icy smiled proudly, his little tail curling up. Say, what do you think Wu Gong is doing? Why did all those people admit defeat? Even Su Nan admitted defeat. What's going on? Lan Ming was puzzled. Moreover, he felt uneasy. He thought that this matter wasn't so easy. Old little Lan, why are you thinking so much? Aren't you tired? It's not bad that they admitted defeat. At least my reward is about to arrive, Lung Ruoxue said happily. They could leave after the competition ended. But I feel a little uneasy. Lan Ming voiced his concern. It's useless to be uneasy. Worrying won't solve the problem. What should come will come, Lung Ruoxue comforted. Alas. Lan Ming just couldn't bear not paying attention to it. Little Lan, don't even think about it. It won't be easy for them to plot against us, old Zhao comforted. Yes, that's right. The meal is ready. Everyone eat quickly. Rest early after eating, Feng Jing mediated. Lung Ruoxue and the others were very happy during this meal, but Lan Ming was preoccupied. After dinner and tidying up, Lung Ruoxue said, I'm going to rest, we're going back to our rooms too. Lung Qingtian and the others looked at Lan Ming. Okay, I'm going back too, Lan Ming said. The next morning, Lung Ruoxue and the others had breakfast and then went to the competition venue. Although there was no longer much suspense in the competition, and the top 3 spots in this competition would definitely come from among the 8 of them, there were still many spectators at the venue. After all, they were still very curious about who the top 3 would end up being. Moreover, they might even be able to appreciate the fierce competition on the arena. After everyone sat down in their seats, Lan Ming looked at everyone with a puzzled expression. "Why didn't you ask me about the rules of the finals?" Lan Ming finally couldn't help asking curiously. These people were strangely too quiet. "What's there to ask? We've already decided to forfeit," old Zhao said nonchalantly. Last night, they had secretly discussed it, and everyone unanimously agreed that they had to end the competition as soon as possible so that they could leave this place. After all, they were new and really too unfamiliar with this boundless heaven continent. Therefore, after completing the competition, they planned to travel around properly. "Forfeit? But don't you want the reward anymore?" Lan Ming said in surprise. He couldn't understand. The current situation was good, so why did they want to forfeit? Could forfeiting be contagious? Why not? "We didn't say that everyone would forfeit. Lass, little Chin Chin, and old Lung won't forfeit," old Zhao explained. "How could they let go of the rewards that they deserved?" "Oh, you scared me. I thought you didn't even want the rewards," Lan Ming said as he wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. "Little Lan Lan, don't forget our appearance fee," Lung Ruoxue reminded with a smile, raising her eyebrows slightly. "Little Snowy, you're already very rich now. Why do you still care about the appearance fee of tens of millions?" Lan Ming asked in disbelief. "Of course I care. Tens of millions is enough for ordinary people to live for a lifetime. It's not a small sum," Lung Ruoxue said very seriously. She had already decided to glorify the spirit of frugality after coming to the boundless heaven continent. "Here. I've already prepared it," Lan Ming said helplessly and handed Lung Ruoxue an anonymous silver card. Alas, he had become very helpless since meeting this girl. Chapter 407. Don't be afraid, I don't have a dragon. 3. Little Lan Lan, you're very trustworthy. Remember to take care of me if you have any business in the future. Lung Ruoxue teased as she put away the silver card. "Little Snowy, your asking price is too high. I probably won't be able to afford to ask you if there are a few more times," Lan Ming joked happily. "It's okay. I can give you a discount," Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile. "That's more like it." Lan Ming nodded with satisfaction. At this moment, the host's voice sounded from the stage. The host stood on the stage again and began speaking on the loudspeaker. What was rare was that not only did he not get down to business this time, but he even began to talk nonstop. Only when the audience was a little impatient did he stop speaking tactfully and announce the official start of the finals. But after waiting for a long time, no one saw the participants of the finals go on stage. They couldn't help whispering and discussing. "What's going on? Why aren't they competing yet? That's right. I clearly saw Lung Ruoxue and the others. What's the situation now?" The audience was puzzled, and the venue blew up again. At this moment, Lung Ruoxue and the others were at the referee's seats communicating with the head referee. "What did you say? Say it again?" The head referee looked at Lung Ruoxue and the others in disbelief, thinking that he had misheard. "I said, we want to forfeit," old man said word by word in case this head referee was so old that he couldn't hear clearly. In fact, they had collectively come to the referee's seats while the host was speaking and said that they wanted to forfeit. But after 10 minutes, this so-called head referee was still asking them the same question. "No, no one will compete if you forfeit. This is the finals. None of you are allowed to forfeit." The head referee roared loudly and panted heavily. This was too childish. He had been in charge of so many competitions, but this was the first time he had encountered such a thing. Moreover, today was only the first round of the finals. During the last round of the finals, President Wu not only wanted to watch the competition, but he also planned to take in disciples. If they all forfeited, President Wu would skin him alive. Only the 5 of them forfeited. "The 3 of us didn't say we're forfeiting," Lung Ruoxue reminded kindly. Alas, the poor old man was immediately dumbfounded when he heard that they were forfeiting. He couldn't even understand what they were saying. You want forfeit? The head referee asked uncertainly. He had clearly heard that they were forfeiting just now. I want forfeit. I still want the reward. Lung Ruoxue said honestly. Oh. The head referee wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. Fortunately, there were still a few seedlings left. Ooh. President Wu shouldn't blame me then, right? Since there are matches, can we forfeit? Old Zhao said impatiently. The matches for today have been arranged, so you can't forfeit now. Of course, admitting defeat is possible. The head referee braced himself. What he implied was that they had to put on a show and go on stage. After all, the audience at the scene had spent money to enter. Oh, all right then. But after our matches this time, we won't do anything else. Old Zhao said very understandingly. Lan Ming had already reminded them just now that it was a little late for them to forfeit, so it probably wouldn't be approved. Therefore, they were already prepared, and now was the time to sell a favor to the head referee. You can forfeit after your matches today, the head referee said gratefully, thinking that these people were sensible. At least this way, President Wu would have no reason to blame him. Then let the competition begin quickly. Let's end this quickly. Old Zhao said anxiously. Okay, the competition can begin. The head referee turned to the referee beside him and ordered. After receiving the notification, the referee walked onto the arena. On the main stage. Hey, what do you think Lung Ruoxue and the others are planning? Lan Lai asked the people beside him with a puzzled face. I don't know, Sun Teng answered coolly. Won't we know if we continue watching? Lung Wudi said nonchalantly. Lan Lai rolled his eyes at Sun Teng and Lung Wudi, and then said to Su Nan, why did you forfeit? Alas. He knew that he wouldn't get the answer he wanted from these two people. These two boring fellows. Of course I have to forfeit if I can't beat them. Su Nan said nonchalantly. In fact, it wasn't a problem for him to enter the top 10. But he hadn't thought about it before because those dragons were really too abnormal. He didn't have such powerful pet beasts. If not for those dragons, you would have had a chance to enter the top 5, Lung Wudi said lightly. Lung Ruoxue, Yichen, and Old Man were definitely stronger than Su Nan. As for Lung Qingtian and Lin Liang, their strength should be on par with Su Nan. It was difficult to say who would win. Chance to enter the top 5? What does that mean? Lan Lai blinked, his handsome face full of question marks. He can enter the top 5 if he performs beyond his level. Otherwise, he won't have a chance, Lung Wudi explained lightly. He also rolled his eyes at Lan Lai, who was stuffing food into his mouth nonstop. He really didn't understand how a guy who only knew how to eat and sleep advanced to Mystic Monarch. Oh! Lan Lai nodded and turned his gaze to the arena. Where is everyone? Why isn't there anyone competing? Lan Lai looked at the empty arena and the mostly empty audience seats in puzzlement. They've left, Sun Teng answered coolly, stood up, and prepared to leave. Why did they leave? Aren't the matches not over yet? Lan Lai was puzzled. Could Sun Teng want to leave too? Today's matches are over, Lung Wudi said helplessly. Alas. People who only cared about food. They had poor eyesight and were actually deaf. How pitiful. No way. I just saw the referee go on the arena? Lan Lai was depressed. There was only the referee standing on the arena, so why did the matches end? Chapter 408. Don't be afraid, I don't have a dragon. 4. People admitted defeat in all 4 matches, so the matches for today naturally ended, Lung Wudi said calmly. Alas. Those people were really too ruthless. He had participated in 3 competitions, but he had never known that the finals could be so easy. He was really envious, jealous, and hateful. Then what should we do? Lan Lai was puzzled. He still wanted to enjoy the exciting battles, but they didn't give him the chance at all. Let's go back. Lung Wudi turned and left. Wait for me. Lan Lai hurriedly chased after them. At the residence of Lung Ruoxue and the others. After today's matches ended, they left the competition venue directly from the back entrance and returned to their residence. Can I admit defeat directly tomorrow? Lung Qingtian teased happily as everyone gathered in the living room. Grandpa, I'll admit defeat tomorrow. Freak said ingratiatingly. He was referring to the match between him and Lung Qingtian tomorrow. He had to respect the old and care for the young. There's no need. I'm old and I don't care about fame, benefits, and so on anymore. In the future, it will be the world of you young people, Lung Qingtian said in disapproval. All right. Freak knew that he couldn't object to his words. Little Lon Lon, there are only the three of us left now. Can we settle it in a day tomorrow? Lung Ruoxue asked uncertainly. According to tradition, there will be 2 rounds tomorrow. The top 3 will emerge after all of them are over, Lan Ming explained. That's good. Phew, the entire competition could finally end tomorrow. Lung Ruoxue immediately felt much more relaxed, even though she didn't have much pressure to begin with. Little Snowy, where do you intend to go after the competition tomorrow? Lan Ming asked sadly, his clear eyes full of reluctance. I don't know. Do you have any good recommendations? It's best if it's a place with a lot of medicinal herbs and minerals and where we can train. Lung Ruoxue stated her request. I actually know of a place that meets your requirements, Lan Ming said with several black lines hanging on his head. Alas, this girl's requirements were really high. But there really was such a place on the boundless heaven continent. It was just that it was too dangerous inside, so very few people dared to go there. Where? Lung Ruoxue asked with interest. That place is called the Dark Night Seas, Lan Ming said very cautiously. Little Snowy, you can't go there, Icy, who had his eyes closed, suddenly said. Why? Lung Ruoxue was even more curious when she heard that she couldn't go. A place that Icy said she couldn't go should be very dangerous. That is one of the most dangerous places on the boundless heaven continent. There are many transcendent divine beasts inside. Moreover, that place has no distinction between day and night, and it's forever shrouded in darkness. I'm not 100% sure that I can protect you wherever you go, so you can't just go anywhere now, Icy said very seriously. People had to at least have the strength of a mystic supremacy if they wanted to go wherever they wished. Moreover, they couldn't go alone. Otherwise, even a mystic supremacy wouldn't be able to return alive. Not now? When can I go? Lung Ruoxue asked in disappointment. Boo. She also knew that her current strength was too low. Your current strength is definitely not enough. But if you can have the strength of a mystic sovereign, I can still guarantee that you will come out alive, Icy said after some thought. He was not an ordinary transcendent divine beast, so protecting a mystic sovereign wasn't a problem. Oh. Little Lon Lon, you better tell me a place where I can go now, Lung Ruoxue complained, her watery eyes glaring fiercely at Lan Ming. Lan Ming thought for a while. Then let's go to Blue Cloud City. Don't you need medicinal herbs? There will be a grand medicinal herb exchange meeting there soon, and many alchemists will go to exchange. Blue Cloud City? The main city of the Lan family? Lung Ruoxue asked. Yes, Blue Cloud City organizes such a medicinal herb exchange every year. The Lan family has a few alchemists, so they value medicinal herbs very much, Lan Ming explained. Miss, the medicinal herb exchange in Blue Cloud City is very famous on the boundless heaven continent. Countless alchemists and medicinal herb merchants gather every year. But the medicinal herb exchange requires an invitation. Even alchemists might not be able to go, Zheng'an said. An exchange meeting of that scale was undoubtedly attractive to alchemists. But ordinary alchemists or nameless alchemists like him who had no status at all were not qualified to enter. I see. Lung Ruoxue glared at Lan Ming with some dissatisfaction. Why does this fellow keep talking about places we can't go? Is he doing it on purpose? Don't stare at me. Since I said so, you can definitely go, Lan Ming said helplessly. Why didn't this girl have much trust in him? He was depressed. Don't tell me I have to go to the Alchemist Association to do a level appraisal? Lung Ruoxue said with a slight warning tone. She didn't want to go to the Alchemist Association now, nor did she want too many people to know her identity as an alchemist. No need. Although I can't invite you with my identity as a member of the Lan family, I can still ask for a few invitations for you, Lan Ming said confidently. Lan Lai happened to be here, so he would ask him for them tomorrow. Oh, that's more like it. Lung Ruoxue was very satisfied with Lan Ming's response. By the way, when will the exchange begin? Lung Ruoxue asked. A month and a half later. I was planning on going there after the competition ended. The time was just right. But the competition has ended early, so there will be a period of time before the exchange meeting. But if we travel slower, we will only arrive at Blue Cloud City a few days before the exchange meeting, Lan Ming said. Grandpa, let's go to Blue Cloud City first. Lung Ruoxue said to Lung Qingtian and the others. Okay. Everyone nodded. Medicinal herbs were also very important to them. Alright, it's getting late. Everyone rest early. Lung Ruoxue said and left the living room with Freak without looking back. The next morning, Lung Ruoxue and the others arrived at the competition venue on time. There seems to be a lot fewer people watching today. Old Man said from his seat. Chapter 409. Don't be afraid, I don't have a dragon. 5. Isn't that normal? Everyone knows the result of today's competition. Lin Liang said. Who would spend money to watch a competition that they already knew the result of? Although mystics were not short of money, they wouldn't waste money. That's right. Old Man nodded. Hee, they must have given the Mystic Association headquarters a headache. There seemed to be a few new faces on the main stage, Old Zhao said as he looked around and saw the main stage as though he had discovered a new continent. The one in the middle is Wu Gong. Lan Ming pointed at the middle-aged man in black sitting in the middle of the main stage. So he's Wu Gong. He's not that good-looking. Why do you say mystics are handsome men and beautiful women? Old Zhao said with disappointment. I mean most mystics, Lan Ming said helplessly. Make yourself clear. I waited for nothing, Old Zhao complained unhappily. Lan Ming was speechless. Ooh, why did this become his fault? These people were really too unreasonable. They only knew how to bully him. Everyone couldn't help laughing when they saw Lan Ming's pitiful appearance. The competition has begun, Feng Jing reminded. Alright, everyone quiet down. The show is about to begin, Old Zhao said excitedly. On the arena, Lung Ruoxue and Freak stood facing each other. Their eyes were tender and glued to each other. No one said anything and they just kept looking at each other. Ahem. The referee couldn't take it anymore. He coughed twice and tried to remind them that it was a competition and everyone was watching. Stop being so mushy. Unfortunately, the two of them ignored the referee and continued looking at each other without saying a word. The match has begun. Are you still going to compete? The referee softly reminded helplessly. This competition could be considered the most abnormal one he had ever encountered. The two of them didn't even look at the referee. After a long while, Freak finally spoke. I admit defeat. Lung Ruoxue, victory. The referee shouted while suppressing his anger and cursing in his head. Damn, you wasted so much time admitting defeat. Is this fun? Then it was Lung Ruoxue versus Lung Qingtian. After Lung Qingtian went on the arena, he chatted with his precious granddaughter for a while. After chatting enough, he said, Referee, I admit defeat. With that, he jumped off the arena without waiting for the referee to announce the result. Lung Ruoxue, victory, the referee announced weakly. He was so angry that he was about to vomit blood. After that, Lung Qingtian and Yi Chen stood on the arena again. The battle between them was also the last match of this mystic competition. Referee, I admit defeat, the two of them said at almost the same time. Brat, who allowed you to admit defeat? Lung Qingtian roared. Didn't they agree beforehand? Grandpa, it's not bad if we draw. Freak said with a smile, his face full of flattery. Which one of you is admitting defeat? The referee asked while clutching his chest and panting heavily. Me, the two of them said in unison again. Both of you admit defeat. How do you want me to judge? The referee roared furiously. Mystic competitions had always been life and death competitions. People either won or lost. There had never been a situation where they admitted defeat at the same time. You can rule it a draw. Freak suggested very kindly. Mystic competitions have never had a draw, the referee roared. Then start with us. Freak said with a light smile. The rules were dead and people were alive. How could they not innovate? All right. Lung Qingtian versus Yichen, draw. The referee hurriedly announced, not wanting to be angered to death. He could tell that these people were each more difficult to deal with than the other. It was better for him to leave early. After the referee announced the result, he left the arena angrily. But Lung Qingtian and Yichen didn't leave. Instead, they found a place to sit down. Lung Ruoxue walked onto the arena again and sat down beside them. The audience, referees, and people on the main stage were all surprised when they heard the referee's announcement. Then a few drops of cold sweat rolled down their foreheads. President, what do you think? The head referee walked to the main stage trembling and looked at Wu Gong fearfully. Cold sweat rolled down his back. Boo! Why did they always make him worry? He had already been scolded badly by the president yesterday. It seemed like it was inevitable today. Alas! Aren't the results out already? Wu Gong said coldly with a dark face. First place is out, but second and third place. The head referee stopped mid-sentence. Isn't it a draw? Then let's put them both in second place. There's no third place in this competition, Wu Gong said bluntly and then fell silent. Yes. The head referee handed the final result to the host after receiving Wu Gong's instructions. After receiving the results of the competition, the host climbed onto the stage again and announced very seriously with the loudspeaker in his hand. Next, let's invite President Wu to present the award to the top 3, the host said excitedly. On the arena, Lung Ruoxue and the others were still sitting lazily on the ground and chatting, not at all aware that they were the top 3. Why are you still sitting? Hurry up and get up. The president will be here soon. The head referee went up the arena early. He almost fainted when he saw the 3 people. This was too casual. Almost here? Doesn't that mean he's not here yet? Let's take a break first. It's quite tiring after 2 battles, Lung Ruoxue said without any intention of getting up. The head referee really hoped that he could faint now, but he just happened to be very energetic. Boo! Now he was sure that these 3 people were definitely doing it on purpose. They wanted to prank him on purpose. Damn it. He had never offended them. You all admitted defeat in both your matches. You didn't even fight. Are you still tired? The head referee couldn't help shouting at the top of his lungs after a moment of silence. Where did Lan Ming find these malignant stars? They were really infuriating. But he also knew that he had to settle these 3 people before the president came up. Otherwise, he couldn't guarantee that the president wouldn't be angered to death by them after coming up to present the awards. Chapter 410, Luring the Dog into the House, 1. I'm under a lot of pressure. Lung Ruoxue lied through her teeth, but she was muttering in her head, why hasn't Wu Gong come up yet? He's so slow at awarding. Please stand up first, okay? The referee had no choice but to lower his body and coax them. Boo! The president was about to arrive. What benefits will it bring us? Freak raised his eyes and asked indifferently. What he implied was that they wouldn't get up first if there were no benefits. The head referee was stunned and a little dumbfounded. Did I hear it right? They actually want benefits from me? Damn, what is this? How can there be such a person in the world? How hateful! How can we ask for benefits from others? Lung Qingtian said with disapproval. Boo! Well said. There are still sensible people. The head referee was so touched that his eyes almost welled up with tears. However, Lung Qingtian deliberately paused. The grateful head referee's heart immediately rose to his throat again when he heard this. He looked at Lung Qingtian cautiously, afraid that he would say something shocking. Boo! I was wrong. This old man isn't a good person either. However, if the other party is the head referee, doesn't matter, Lung Qingtian said with a smirk. It does. I'm very poor, the head referee hurriedly said and pretended to be pitiful. Head referee, tell the president to give us the rewards directly so that he doesn't have to present us with them, Lung Ruoxue said. Yes. Our time is very precious. Freak echoed. This is against the rules, the head referee said softly as he wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. Ooh. He felt that it was better to faint, but he wasn't given the chance. Oh, how about you tell Wu Gong that we couldn't wait and left first and ask him to send the rewards to our residence? Lung Ruoxue suggested after some thought. What benefits do you want? The head referee admitted defeat. You can owe us first. We'll let you know when we think of it. Lung Ruoxue raised her eyebrows slightly and looked at the head referee. In fact, they were just teasing this old man for fun. They didn't expect him to take it seriously. The head referee was stunned. How could this be owed? He really couldn't understand the thoughts of these three people now. The head referee inadvertently looked up and saw that Wu Gong was only a few meters away from the arena. He couldn't help asking anxiously, President Wu is here. Can you get up first? Grandpa, let's give the head referee face. Lung Ruoxue said very kindly and then stood up from the ground. All right. Lung Qingtian also gave him face. Head referee, don't forget the benefits you owe us. Freak reminded and stood up. I won't forget, the head referee hurriedly said. Phew, that was close. As soon as Lung Ruoxue and the others stood up, Wu Gong led a group of elders onto the arena. After getting on the arena, Wu Gong saw Lung Ruoxue and the others standing on it. A trace of disgust quickly flashed in his shrewd and gloomy eyes, but his face was full of smiles and very amiable. At the same time, Lung Ruoxue and the others were also looking at the legendary Wu Gong. He was a middle-aged man in his 50s. He wasn't tall and was even slightly chubby. His appearance was ordinary, but his eyes revealed his nature. He was definitely a narrow-minded man who would seek revenge for the slightest slights. To put it bluntly, he was a villain. Moreover, the flash of disgust in his eyes just now didn't escape the eyes of Lung Ruoxue and the others. You must be the top 3 of our mystic competition. How outstanding! Wu Gong praised without thinking, his eyes full of appreciation. Lung Ruoxue and the others ignored him. How dare you? The president is talking to you. How dare you not answer? Someone behind Wu Gong scolded. Is the president here? Lung Ruoxue pretended to be stupid. The one in front of you is the president, the person said again. Is that so? But I heard that the president has been in seclusion. When did he come out? Lung Ruoxue looked at Wu Gong doubtfully, the word disbelief written all over her face. The president is in seclusion. I am the vice president of the headquarters. However, everyone calls me the president because they respect me, Wu Gong explained patiently. He looked amiable, but in fact he was so angry that he wanted to chop Lung Ruoxue into pieces. Oh, but even if the president is in seclusion, they can't call you president, right? This will cause people who don't know the truth to misunderstand, Lung Ruoxue said very naively, her eyes full of innocence. Moreover, the vice president is the vice president. If people call the vice president the president, it's also disrespectful to the president, right, vice president? Lung Ruoxue added. Yes, you're right. Wu Gong suppressed his anger. Damn woman, how dare she go against me? I won't let her go. Vice President, you're still the sensible one, unlike some people who only know how to curry favor. Vice President, you have to stay away from those people. Lung Ruoxue suggested and kept calling him Vice President. You're right. But today is a good day. Let's not talk about those disappointing things. Wu Gong cunningly changed the topic. His goal hadn't been achieved yet, so he would let this woman go today and slowly deal with her in the future. Vice President, where are our rewards? Lung Ruoxue stretched out her fair little hand. These are your rewards. Congratulations on obtaining good results. Wu Gong took out 3 storage rings and handed them to the 3 of them formally. Thank you, Vice President, Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. She poured all the things in the ring onto the arena and sat on the ground to count them one by one. She even took out a piece of paper that she had prepared beforehand to check carefully according to the content on the paper. Freak and Lung Qingtian followed suit. Chapter 411. Luring the dog into the house. 2. Wu Gong and the others were at a loss for words when they saw Leng Ruoxue and the others taking inventory seriously. The corners of their mouths twitched nonstop as they cursed in their heads. Damn, do they have to be so embarrassing? Where did these bumpkins come from? They're already mystics. Don't they know they can examine the contents with their divine sense? Was there a need to pour them all out? An hour later, Leng Ruoxue and the others finally counted everything. Vice President, nothing is missing. Leng Ruoxue praised and stored the things on the ground back into the ring. Have you checked everything? Wu Gong's mouth twitched. Damn it, of course nothing is missing. Yes, Grandpa Freak, let's go. Leng Ruoxue answered and turned to Leng Qingtian and Freak. Okay. The two nodded. The three of them walked down the arena tacitly. Wait, Wu Gong called out to the three of them. He was furious, but things weren't over yet. How could he let them leave just like that? Vice President, haven't you given us the rewards? Leng Ruoxue turned around and reminded him. There are other rewards, Wu Gong said. We aren't interested in anything except money and material things, Leng Ruoxue replied lightly. Are you not interested in being my disciple? Wu Gong asked with a friendly smile. I don't believe they won't be tempted. Many people want to be my disciple. Your disciple? Doesn't that mean we'll be the same as President Zhou? Leng Ruoxue said with a face full of surprise. Yes. If you become my disciple, Zhou Kun will be your senior brother, Wu Gong said confidently. I knew this ugly woman would be moved. Seems being my disciple is quite attractive. He was so pleased. Be Zhou Kun's junior sister? Leng Ruoxue frowned as if she was thinking. Yes. Your senior brother is very popular with women, Wu Gong coaxed. Leng Ruoxue looked like she was most likely charmed by his disciple. This is great. He believed his goal would be easily achieved. But I don't want to have the same master as him. Zhou Kun is really too annoying, and anyone willing to take him in as a disciple is most likely not much better, so let's forget it. Leng Ruoxue said as if she had made a major decision. What did you say? Wu Gong widened his eyes and looked at Leng Ruoxue in disbelief. The people behind Wu Gong were also in disbelief. Their hearts were in their throats, and cold sweat dripped down their bodies. Boo! They would definitely be implicated by Leng Ruoxue. The president loved to vent his anger. Now they saw the president lose face. When this was over, they were doomed. They were dead meat. I said, I refuse to become Zhou Kun's junior sister. I can't afford to lose face, Leng Ruoxue said clearly and understandingly. Say it again. Wu Gong said, his face as colorful as a color palette. Aren't you still young? Why aren't your ears working well? Leng Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. Leng Ruoxue, I'm asking you to say it again. Wu Gong roared without caring about his image. All right, seeing that you're old, I'll say it again. You have to listen carefully. This is the last time. Leng Ruoxue reminded. Tell me. Wu Gong roared, his face red. I said, I refuse to become Zhou Kun's junior sister, and anyone willing to take him in as a disciple is most likely not much better. Leng Ruoxue said with a light smile. Anyway, she had offended many people recently. As the saying went, there was no need to worry about debts when there were too many, so she didn't care if she offended this centipede. Moreover, this centipede probably didn't have any good intentions by taking her in as his disciple. Leng Ruoxue, don't regret it. Wu Gong roared in exasperation. Damn it. She's was too hateful. I'll only regret it if I become your disciple. Leng Ruoxue said disdainfully. Grandpa Freak, let's go. Leng Ruoxue turned to the two of them. Ignoring Wu Gong's anger, Leng Qingtian and Freak nodded, and the three swaggered off the arena. Old Man and the others were already waiting at the entrance of the passageway. Lass. You're still the best. That centipede was almost angered to death, Old Zhao said with a laugh. Alas. Little Snowy, you've completely offended Wu Gong this time. You have to be careful from now on, Lan Ming said worriedly and sighed heavily. Wu Gong was notorious for being petty, So that old thing would definitely find an opportunity to take revenge on Lung Ruoxue and the others. With his relationship with the Sun family, we can't get along peacefully with each other anyway. Moreover, he has been scheming against us for a long time, so I only collected some interest today, Lung Ruoxue said nonchalantly. Although the Sun family was currently an unshakable colossus to her, there were examples of ants biting an elephant to death, so there was nothing to be afraid of. Little Snowy, let's leave this place. I smell a stinky smell. Icy, who was lying on Lung Ruoxue's shoulder, wrinkled his little nose in displeasure. Okay. Everyone nodded, and the group left the competition venue and returned to their residence. Not long after they returned to their residence, some people came to visit. The people who came to visit entered the house openly in the name of sending an invitation. Wow, you are my idol. In the living room, Lan Lai's eyes lit up as he looked at Icy, who was napping on Lung Ruoxue's shoulder, his expression full of excitement. Icy rolled his eyes and said cockily, "Don't worship me. I'm a legend." Legend? That's even more cause to idolize you. Lan Lai said excitedly. This puppy was really too mighty and extraordinary. He liked him so much. When Lung Ruoxue heard the conversation between the human and beast, 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down her forehead. Is this person really the future patriarch of the Lan family? Will the Lan family be at ease handing the family over to him? Ahem. Lan Ming couldn't help coughing twice to remind his nephew not to be too embarrassing. 1. Sounds similar to Wu Gong in Chinese. Chapter 412. Luring the dog into the house. 3. Your name is Little Icy, right? You can call me Little Lai Lai, Lan Lai said warmly. Oh. Icy answered indifferently and ignored him. Oh. Little Icy, do you hate me? Lan Lai said sadly. This little beast obviously ignored him. I want to sleep. Go play somewhere else. Icy couldn't take it anymore. He glanced at Lan Ming, his blue eyes saying, Is this person really your relative? Liar, Little Icy doesn't like to be disturbed while sleeping, Lan Ming reminded kindly. Oh, Little Icy, you continue your sleep. I won't talk anymore, Lan Lai said understandingly. He stopped talking, but he stared at Icy intently. A moment later, Icy opened his eyes, his blue eyes full of displeasure. Little Lai Lai, don't stare at me. I will be shy. Lan Lai didn't expect Icy to be a shy puppy. He liked him even more now. Little Icy is so cute. Lan Lai's eyes shone with sincerity. Little Lai Lai, I'm going to bite you if you keep looking at me. Icy couldn't take it anymore and threatened. Little Icy, cute beasts can't threaten others, Lan Lai said aggrievedly. Boo-hoo. He just looked at him a few more times because he liked him too much. Why did he threaten him? I like to threaten others, Icy said nonchalantly. Little Icy, sleep obediently. As for you, we've already received the invitation. Thank you. If there's nothing else, you can go back first, Lung Ruoxue said bluntly. Hearing what Lung Ruoxue said, Icy closed his eyes obediently. Lan Lai was stunned. After returning to his senses, he blinked his eyes hard in disbelief. Did I hear it wrong? They're already chasing us away? This woman is too realistic. Lung Wudi and Sun Teng, who were also sitting in the living room, couldn't help grumbling. At this moment, there was another knock on the door outside the courtyard. Lan Ming stood up conscientiously and went to open the door. Soon, he returned with a dark face. What's the matter? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously after seeing Lan Ming's ugly expression. The headquarters just informed us to move out immediately, Lan Ming said. Oh, then let's move. Lung Ruoxue said calmly. Little Snowy, if we leave this place, some people will have the chance to play dirty, Lan Ming said worriedly. Although private fights were not allowed in Carefree City, it would be a different story if the headquarters deliberately shielded them. Little Lan Lan, we can't stay in the headquarters forever. Some people will also be anxious over time. At that time, they will always turn a blind eye. We can't do anything to them either, Lung Ruoxue said. Shuer is right. We can do whatever we want outside, Leng Qingtian said. He had always agreed with his granddaughter's opinion. Alas. All right then. Let's find an inn to stay at first. Why are you looking for an inn? Move to our Lan family's estate in this city. Lan Lai said warmly. This way, he could have the most intimate contact with little Icy. His idea was really too good. He was so proud. This isn't too convenient. Leng Ruoxue declined tactfully. Lan Lai's thoughts were written all over his face. But she was really afraid that Icy would be harassed. After all, Icy's temper wasn't very good. She really didn't know what Icy would do if he was provoked. It's indeed inconvenient, Lan Ming said helplessly. The puppy's temper was terrible. Uncle, what's so inconvenient? I'm the only one staying in the estate now. I don't believe that the Sun family will dare to come to our Lan family estate to kill you, Lan Lai said indignantly. Little Snowy, let's go live with little Lai Lai, said Icy, who kept his eyes closed. All right then. Leng Ruoxue said. She was even less afraid since little Icy wasn't afraid of being harassed. Then come with me quickly. Lan Lai said happily. Then he stood up and prepared to lead the way. Leng Ruoxue and the others tidied up simply and then moved in with Lan Lai. The Lan family estate was on the other side of Carefree City. The Lan family estate was located at the southernmost part of Carefree City and occupied a very large area. The estate was surrounded by mountains and rivers, and the air was fresh. The estate was also shaded by trees and blooming with thousands of flowers. The exquisite pavilions and buildings were so beautiful that they made people sigh. There were rock mountains, and a clear river flowed through the entire estate. Silver-white fish swam freely in the river, appearing very carefree. Leng Ruoxue and the others were arranged to stay in Ningxi Garden. Ningxi Garden was said to be the best garden in the Lan family estate. The decorations and furnishings inside were luxurious. In Leng Ruoxue's room, Miss Leng, are you satisfied with this place? The steward of the estate said with a face full of pride. This Ningxi Garden was the best residence in the entire estate other than the main residence. In the past, only their Lan family's fifth young lady, Lan Ninger, had the chance to stay here. He didn't expect the young master to arrange for them to stay here today. Who were they? The steward was very curious. Very satisfied, Leng Ruoxue said lightly. The residence was beautiful, and the furnishings in the room were very exquisite. It was obvious that the owner cared a lot about this residence. But to her, it was fine as long as she lived comfortably. She didn't care about anything else, but seeing the steward's proud face and eager gaze, she could only say that she was satisfied. That's good. Miss Leng, have a good rest. I won't disturb you any further. The steward left after speaking. Swear, this place isn't much. Freak murmured with some dissatisfaction after the steward left. The smell of incense in the room was too pungent, and he didn't like it at all. Make do with staying for a few days. Well, leave in a few days, Leng Ruoxue comforted. She had already discussed with Lan Ming and planned to set off for Blue Cloud City in 3 days. Chapter 413, Luring the Dog into the House. 4. Swear, let's sleep in the space tonight. Freak said. Okay. Leng Ruoxue nodded. I'll go too. Icy looked up and said hurriedly, as if he was afraid of being left behind. Little Icy, I thought you were asleep. Leng Ruoxue said with some amusement. Icy was harassed by Lan Lai on the way to the Lan family estate. I pretended to be asleep. That kid from the Lan family is really too clingy. I can't take it anymore. Icy couldn't help complaining. Then why did you agree to stay here? This was something Leng Ruoxue didn't understand. Why did Icy agree? It was too strange. For the silver snowfish, of course. Icy swallowed his saliva. Alas, what a delicious fish. He couldn't help feeling excited just thinking about it. Silver snowfish? Leng Ruoxue looked at Icy doubtfully. Did you see the river in the estate? The fish in there is the silver snowfish I mentioned, Icy explained. Is that fish delicious? Leng Ruoxue asked curiously. Delicious? Not only is it delicious, but it can also be used in medicine. In short, it's incomparably precious, Icy said, so hungry that his saliva was about to drip down. Schwer, the silver snow fish is the main ingredient in refining the silver snow pill. The silver snow pill is a heaven-grade pill that can help great mystics break through to mystic monarch. But the success rate of silver snow pills is very low, so they can absolutely be considered priceless medicinal pills. I think that boy from the Lon family took a silver snow pill. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to advance to mystic monarch so quickly, Empty said via voice transmission. Lon Lai's aptitude was good, but that fellow was too lazy and not very concerned about cultivation. This was known by everyone on the boundless heaven continent. Yeah. Little Snowy, let's steal all these silver snow fish. If you raise them in your space, the quality of these silver snow fish will definitely be better. Icy's face was full of desire as his big ice blue eyes looked at Lung Ruoxue eagerly. Lung Ruoxue began to sweat profusely. Icy's idea was really, alas. She really wanted to know if Lon Lai would cry to death if he knew that he was the one who lured the dog into the house. Little Snowy, is it okay? Icy asked cutely, blinking his big eyes. All right. But for Lan Ming's sake, we can't steal all of them, Lung Ruoxue said helplessly. In fact, she was quite interested in the silver snow pill. Just leave 2 for them, Icy said generously, his fluffy little face full of pride. Lung Ruoxue was speechless. Little Icy, you are really ruthless. When she came, she saw at least a few thousand fish in the river. She didn't know how long the Lon family had been raising them. Great. Now little Icy had his eyes on them and even wanted to wipe them all out at once. Alas. Little Snowy, I'm not doing it for me. You also need silver snow pills. Icy said aggrievedly while looking at Lung Ruoxue's expression with tears shining in his beautiful blue eyes. I didn't say anything. Let's go steal fish tonight. 2 drops of cold sweat rolled down Lung Ruoxue's forehead, and she hurriedly changed the topic. Ooh, can these beasts not be so smart? Okay. Icy immediately wiped his tears away and answered happily when he heard that they were going to steal the fish at night. Little Icy, how did you know that the Lon family has silver snowfish? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. Icy shook his little head and explained, this isn't a secret on the boundless heaven continent. But silver snowfish are very difficult to raise. Currently, no one has raised them in the entire continent except for the Lon family. Moreover, silver snowfish love the cold the most. Therefore, the colder the water used to raise them, the better. There happens to be a natural cold pool below this Lon family estate, so the silver snowfish can survive. Wouldn't there be a lot of people who want to steal fish? Lung Ruoxue guessed. With the value of the silver snowfish, wouldn't this fish be thought of all day long? There are definitely many people who want to steal them, but they have to have the guts to steal them. Moreover, silver snowfish themselves aren't so easy to steal. You'll know tonight. Icy kept her guessing. Oh. Lung Ruoxue answered softly. She was really curious after hearing Icy's words. Time passed slowly. In the dead of night, Lung Ruoxue summoned Rise and got him to cast an invisibility spell on her, Freak, and Icy before sneaking to the river in the yard. So cold. Lung Ruoxue felt the temperature drop significantly when she stood by the river, and she instantly understood what Icy meant earlier. Little Snowy, quickly store the fish away. Icy said anxiously. Hee, it wouldn't be so easy to steal silver snowfish because of the cold. Okay. With a thought, Lung Ruoxue put 1/3 of the fish in the river into the bracelet. Suddenly, Icy pinched his throat and shouted, Help! There are assassins! When Lung Ruoxue heard Icy's cry, 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down her forehead. She looked at Icy in surprise. Little Icy, what are you shouting for? Hee, Little Snowy, there will be a good show to watch. Icy smiled mysteriously and kept silent. Little Icy, you've learned bad things. Lung Ruoxue teased. Little Icy actually liked to keep her in suspense. But she knew very well that Little Icy had most likely discovered something, even though he refused to say it. Just as Lung Ruoxue thought, Several figures quickly emerged from the other residences of the Lan family state after little Icy finished shouting. Moreover, the sound of fighting sounded soon after. Little Snowy, let's go somewhere else to steal some more, Icy suggested after seeing that most of the fish in this section of the river had been stolen. Little Icy, isn't this enough? Chapter 4:14, Framing 1. Little Snowy, you have to believe me. Moreover, these fish are already mature. Even if we don't eat them now, they will be eaten by the Lan family, Icy said understandingly. The silver snowfish could be used to concoct pills, but it would be best if the fish used to concoct the silver snow pills were not fully mature. This way, the effects of the concocted silver snow pill would be the best, and the mature silver snowfish were the most delicious. Moreover, if these fish weren't eaten for a long time, they would naturally die when the time came, so they must not be wasted. The Lan family eats them too? Lung Ruoxue was puzzled. Weren't silver snowfish very precious? Little Snowy, silver snowfish have a growth cycle, and their longest lifespan is only 10 years. So it would be a waste not to eat these fish after they mature. Moreover, even though silver snowfish aren't easy to raise, they are very good at producing offspring, so there's no need to worry, Icy explained. Alas, little Snowy is too kind. Oh, then let's go. Lung Ruoxue nodded, and they changed places to continue stealing fish. In another courtyard, two groups of people were fighting, while Lung Ruoxue's group was busy stealing fish and changing several places one after another. Little Icy, is this enough? Lung Ruoxue asked with slightly raised eyebrows. There were only about 100 fish left in the entire river now. She couldn't bear to steal any more. That's it. Alas. Little Snowy, you're too kind. Icy nodded reluctantly. Let's go see the commotion. Lung Ruoxue wiped the cold sweat off her forehead. Little Icy actually said I was kind. Okay, let's cause trouble, Icy said with unconcealed excitement. Causing trouble was his favorite. Lung Ruoxue nodded speechlessly, and the two humans and two beasts walked toward the fight. In the main residence, the guards of the Lan family were fighting with several men in black. There were saber flashes and sword shadows all over in the huge courtyard, and colorful mystic power flew everywhere. After arriving, Lung Ruoxue and the others stood to the side and watched the battle. They were invisible anyway, so others couldn't see them. Little Snowy, the lowest level of the Lan family's guards is Mystic Monarch. Icy watched the battle while taking on the task of explaining. Yes, as expected of one of the three great families. They have a strong foundation, Lung Ruoxue said while staring at the two parties in the fight. Those men in black aren't bad. They are generally mystic sovereigns. Little Snowy, guess who sent them? Icy asked with a naughty smile. It's either the Sun family or the Mystic Association headquarters, right? Lung Ruoxue guessed. Hee, they are all from the Sun family. Otherwise, why would the guards of the Lan family work so hard? Icy said with slight pride. Okay. Lung Ruoxue nodded. She had also heard that the Lan family and the Sun family had always been at odds. But from the looks of the fighting, it seemed to be even more serious than the rumors. Schwer, are we just going to watch? Freak suddenly asked, his pitch-black and bright eyes shining with a mischievous light. Lung Ruoxue looked at Freak and asked with a smile, what do you want to do? Hee, look at me. Freak smiled evilly, then changed his voice and shouted at the top of his lungs, someone come quickly. The Sun family is here to sell the silver snow fish. After hearing the shout, the leader of the men in black, who was fighting with the guards of the Lan family in midair, almost fell down. Damn it. Who's setting us up? The leader of the men in black cursed. They were obviously here to kill Lung Ruoxue and her group, but they were discovered by the Lan family's guards as soon as they arrived. Now, they were even accused of stealing fish. He was so depressed. He hated the people who spoke out twice. How dare the Sun family come to our Lan family to steal fish? The leader of the guards said coldly with disdain. We're not here to steal fish, the leader of the men in black tried explaining. You're not here to steal fish. Then what are you doing here in the middle of the night? Don't tell me you're here for a walk. This isn't your Sun family grounds. You can't behave atrociously here. The guard leader didn't believe him at all. After all, there was nothing good about the Sun family in his heart. Just take it that we're here for a walk, the leader of the men in black said helplessly. Alas, why was he so miserable? He knew that it wouldn't work no matter what he said. They wouldn't take them seriously. Coming to our Lan family's territory for a walk is equivalent to an attack. You will also die, the guard leader said without hesitation. We're both mystic sovereigns. You can't kill me, the leader of the men in black said with a sneer. That might not be the case, the guard leader said confidently. The two of them quickly began fighting again. Not far away, Lung Ruoshue broke out in a cold sweat after hearing Freak's shout. Hee hee, little Chin Chin, you're also naughty. Icy praised while watching the two parties fighting more and more intensely. I think they still aren't satisfied with fighting. Why don't we add fuel to the fire? Freak suggested. Oh. Icy's big blue eyes looked at Freak doubtfully. At this moment, Freak had already taken out the small and exquisite bamboo tube, aimed, and shot at the butt of one of the men in black. In just a few seconds, the man in black fell to the ground with a plop. The Lan family guard who was fighting him stood rooted to the ground, his face full of question marks. Ah, this is fun. Let me play with it. Chapter 4:15, Framing, 2. Sir Lan, our silver snow fish have been stolen. The steward who had gone to check on the silver snow fish ran to the two of them while panting heavily. You're really here to steal fish. How shameless, the guard leader said angrily. I told you we were here for a walk. The leader of the men in black quibbled while cursing in his mind, damn it. Who's framing us? Go to hell. The guard leader roared and used his strongest move. Just as he was about to attack with all his might, he found that his opponent had actually collapsed. The guard leader was stunned. He retracted his mystic power and looked around in bewilderment. He found that all the men in black had fallen to the ground at some point. When did the Sun family become so weak? The steward walked to the guard leader and asked curiously, Sir Lan, has your strength increased again? No, I didn't kill him, the guard leader said honestly. But he died in front of you, the steward said in puzzlement. The guard leader squatted down and carefully examined the body of the leader of the men in black, only to find that his body had already turned completely black. This was obviously a sign of poison. Could these people have come to steal fish with the determination to die? The Sun family is really too vicious. He committed suicide, the guard leader concluded after checking. He stole so many of our fish. I wouldn't have let him go even if he didn't commit suicide, the steward roared furiously. How many did they steal? The guard leader couldn't help asking when he saw the steward's angry appearance. The silver snow fish couldn't be stolen just because people wanted to, so it was already good enough that these people could steal a few in his mind. There are only slightly more than 100 left. Boo-hoo, the steward wanted to cry but had no tears. This fish. They were gone just like that. Boo-hoo, the Sun family was really too despicable. He had thought of many ways to raise those fish, and it wasn't easy to raise them so well, but now. Report to the patriarch. Tell him that the Sun family stole our silver snow fish, the guard leader said decisively. Okay, the steward said through gritted teeth. After hearing the conversation between the guard leader and the steward, Lung Ruoxue's group of 2 humans and 2 beasts quietly returned to Ningxi Garden. After entering the room, Lung Ruoxue, Freak, and the 2 beasts couldn't stop laughing. Ha, it's so funny, Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile. Yes. The Sun family will definitely be the scapegoat, Freak said happily. Hee hee, it's all thanks to me. Icy said cockily, his tail curling up proudly again. If he hadn't discovered those black-clothed people immediately, how could those fellows have been discovered by the Lan family's guards as soon as they sneaked into the Lan family estate? Yes. You're the smartest. Lung Ruoxue caressed Icy's little head and praised him. Schwer, let us out. Lung Qingtian sent a voice transmission from the bracelet. They knew that Shuer and the others were going to steal the silver snow fish, so they wanted to broaden their horizons. So they had all entered the space and seen everything that happened outside. Moreover, they had long been rolling on the ground laughing in the space. Okay. Without a thought, Lung Ruoxue moved her grandfather and the others out. Alas, the Sun family really suffered a double loss this time. They suffered such a tremendous loss. I think the Sun family will be so angry that they will vomit blood. Old Zhao chuckled, extremely happy. Hee, the Sun family was here to kill them, but they didn't even get to see the people they were going to kill and even became fish thieves instead. Alas. How pitiful. Ruoxue, your poison is really powerful. Even mystic sovereigns couldn't resist it, Feng Jing said with amazement. The effects of the poison earlier really surprised him. That's because we launched a sneak attack. In a real battle, we wouldn't even be able to touch the corner of a mystic sovereign's clothes with our current strength, Lung Ruoxue said very sincerely. Her poison was quite powerful, but she had to have a chance to use it. Otherwise, the poison would just be a decoration. Hee, no matter what, your poison boosted our confidence. Old Zhao said excitedly. Yeah. Lung Ruoxue nodded. Alright, it's getting late. Everyone, go back to your rooms and sleep. Lung Qingtian said. This wasn't their home after all. There were many experts hiding in the dark in the Lan family. We'll go back to our rooms. Old Zhao left Lung Ruoxue's room with everyone. Shuer, let's rest too. Freak said. Okay. With a thought, Lung Ruoxue brought Freak and the two beasts into the bracelet. After entering the bracelet, they went straight to the pond where the silver snowfish were being raised. Beside the pond, all the beasts and Empty were gathered, drooling and looking at the silver-white fish swimming happily in the water. Don't tell me you want to eat the fish. Lung Ruoxue shook her head helplessly. All the beasts and Empty nodded in unison, their eyes revealing desire as they looked at Lung Ruoxue pitifully. Not now. Lung Ruoxue said without negotiation. She had so many beasts, so how could this small amount of fish be enough? Fortunately, in the space, these fish would grow faster and their lifespans would increase, so she believed that they would be able to have fresh and delicious silver snow fish to eat soon. Lung Ruoxue looked at the beasts and Empty and continued to warn them. Alright, everyone stop looking. I've handed these fish to Qingju to manage. No one is allowed to eat them secretly, especially Empty. Shuer, why me in particular? Empty said defiantly. Everyone had the same thoughts, but why did she only name him? Boo. Shuer is too biased. Because it's you, Lung Ruoxue said. Then she ignored him and pulled Freak directly toward the purple bamboo house. Hee. Icy turned his head and covered his mouth to laugh. Chapter 416, Framing, 3. Everyone, stop looking. Go to sleep. Empty said gloomily and walked toward his residence. The next morning, after breakfast, Lung Ruoxue and the others were chatting in the garden when Lan Lai brought Lung Wudi over. Little Icy, I'm here to see you. I haven't seen you for a night. I missed you so much, Lan Lai said mushily. At the same time, everyone present was so shocked that they broke out in cold sweat. Beside him, Lung Wudi immediately jumped 2 meters away from him with a very strange expression on his face. His eyes stared at him with slight fear, and the words I don't know him were written on his face. Little Icy, I'm talking to you. Why are you ignoring me? Lan Lai said coquettishly. Icy shook his head and said very seriously, don't think about me. I'm not interested in males. Everyone was speechless. Boo. Little Icy, you really hurt my heart. I missed you for the entire night and didn't sleep well. Look, I have dark circles under my eyes, Lan Lai said pitifully. Tears flashed in his eyes but didn't fall. Go after a female. I'm a male, Icy said furiously. Damn it. The Qilin race didn't approve of boy love. But I only have you in my heart, Lan Lai said suggestively. Little Snowy, I can't take it anymore, Icy said pitifully to Lung Ruoxue. There's no need to hold back anymore. Lung Ruoxue suppressed her smile. Okay. Icy was angry, especially after seeing everyone turning their heads to snicker. So he opened his mouth and sneezed loudly, blowing Lan Lai out of Ningxi Garden. Of course, he was lenient compared to how he treated the Sun family. Everyone watched as Lan Lai flew out of the garden with a whoosh and disappeared. They broke out in cold sweat and thought in unison, fortunately, we aren't the ones flying out. The atmosphere in the garden immediately fell to a minimum, and everyone fell silent. After a long while, Lan Lai limped in a very sorry state into Ningxi Garden with the help of a servant. Little Icy, you're too cruel, Lan Lai said aggrievedly with tears in his eyes. Unfortunately, Icy didn't even raise his eyes and started snoring on Lung Ruoxue's shoulder. Seeing Icy ignoring him, Lan Lai turned his head and said to everyone, "You have no sympathy." But Lung Ruoxue and the others also turned their heads, and no one bothered with him. "Uncle, your cute nephew is injured," Lan Lai called out directly, unwilling to give up. "Then quickly return to your room to rest." Lan Ming braced himself and comforted him helplessly. Lan Ming's answer displeased Lan Lai, so he said to Lung Wudi, "Little Didi, your best friend is injured. If you call me Little Didi again, I will hurt you even more," Lung Wudi said indifferently with a cold smile. "Little Didi? Ha, that's a good name." Old Zao started laughing hysterically after hearing this name. Lung Wudi threw a sharp glare at him. But not only did it not stop old Zao from laughing, he even laughed more happily. Lung Wudi was depressed. These people were mentally abnormal and couldn't be inferred with common sense. So he didn't bicker with this old man. "Little Didi, can you bear to do it?" At this moment, Lan Lai secretly looked at Lung Wudi and pretended to be pitiful. "Yes, I can. You can try calling me that again if you don't believe me," Lung Wudi said with a spurious smile, his eyes very unfriendly. "If you don't like it, I won't call you by that name." Lan Lai admitted defeat. Boo! He couldn't defeat this fellow. Alas! He was in a disadvantaged group. Lung Wudi nodded, very satisfied with Lan Lai's tact. Lan Lai found a seat and asked with concern, "By the way, were you all right yesterday?" "We're fine. Thank you for your concern," Lung Ruoxue said lightly. "It's really strange. Those people of Sun family actually committed suicide and stole many of our silver snow fish," Lan Lai continued, his handsome face full of doubts. "They committed suicide to avoid punishment. It's very normal." Lung Ruoxue said, "That's true." Lan Lai thought about it for a bit and then stopped thinking about it. "Lan Lai, we will be leaving the day after tomorrow. Thank you for your hospitality," Lung Ruoxue said politely. "Okay, I'll go with you then. I haven't returned to Blue Cloud City for a long time. I can go home and take a look," Lan Lai said with a smile. "Did I hear it wrong? Do you mean that you miss home?" Lung Wudi's eyes widened in disbelief. "What do you mean? Can't I miss home?" Lan Lai shouted. "It's unrealistic for you to miss home," Lung Wudi said matter-of-factly. He had known Lan Lai since they were young. He knew Lan Lai's character better than anyone else. This guy had never liked to stay at home since he was a child, and he wanted to run away from home whenever he had the chance. Now, a person who liked to run away from home suddenly said he wanted to go home. Wasn't this more unbelievable than red rain falling from the sky? "Young master!" Before Lan Lai could argue, the steward suddenly appeared in Ningxi Garden and whispered something in Lan Lai's ear. "What is she doing here?" "Ask her to stay in Peace Garden," Lan Lai said impatiently and glared at Lung Wudi. "This man is really a source of trouble." "Fifth Miss refused," the steward said helplessly. The Lan family was deeply troubled by their fifth Miss' willfulness, but they were helpless. Alas! The fifth Miss was favored. She has to agree even if she doesn't want to. "It's not up to her," Lan Lai said furiously. He couldn't do anything to these people, but couldn't he deal with the Lan family? The steward was in a dilemma. "Tell her that she can either go to Peace Garden or scram." "Tell her what I said," Lan Lai said angrily. "All right then." The steward braced himself and went to find the fifth Miss. Lung Wudi raised his eyebrows slightly and asked lightly, "What? Is there trouble? Chapter 417, Framing for Nothing. A fly flew in, Lan Lai said nonchalantly. Seventh brother, how can you let others stay in my residence? Lan Ninger's voice sounded as soon as Lan Lai finished speaking. Then a red-dressed girl ran into the yard angrily and stood in front of Lan Lai to question him. Miss Lan Ning, are you questioning me? Lan Lai said with a smile that was not a smile. He might seem easygoing in front of Lung Ruoxue and the others, but in front of others, he was the fully deserving and unquestionable young master of the Lan family. I am Grandpa's most beloved granddaughter. How can you give my residence to others? Lan Ninger said very unpleasantly, but her tone subconsciously became much lower. After all, Lan Lai was the young master of the Lan family and the future patriarch. Even if their grandpa doted on her, she would probably suffer if she angered the heir of the Lan family. So she really didn't dare to be too presumptuous in front of Lan Lai. Your residence? How is it yours? Lan Lai said coldly without even looking up. Everyone knows that I live in Ningxi Garden as long as I come here, Lan Ninger said loudly. She looked at the people in the courtyard from the corner of her eyes. Apart from Big Brother Lung, all of them are ugly. It was too infuriating. Lan Lai actually let these ugly people stay in her Ningxi Garden. She was so angry. So what? They're my friends. They can stay wherever I allow them to stay. You have no right to ask, Lan Lai said without giving her face. Lan Lai, how dare you? I'm Grandpa's most beloved granddaughter. I'm going to tell Grandpa. Lan Ninger roared furiously. Go ahead. I want to see how Grandpa will react when he finds out that his most beloved granddaughter actually yelled at the heir he chose. Don't think that just because Grandpa dotes on you that you can look down on everyone. Let me tell you, I am the young master of the Lan family. What crime will you be charged with if news of you disrespecting the young master reaches the elders? Lan Lai said very curiously. You wait. Lan Ninger glared fiercely at Lan Lai, turned around, and walked away angrily. It really was a troublesome fly, Lung Wudi said lightly after Lan Ninger left. You two bad fellows actually call the #1 beauty of the boundless heaven continent a fly. If her admirers know, just their saliva will drown you too, Lan Ming couldn't help teasing. Who dares? The two of them said in unison. Then they looked at each other and smiled tacitly. Everything was unspoken. Alas, men are trouble. Lung Ruoxue looked at Freak and suddenly sighed with emotion. Schwer. Freak looked at Lung Ruoxue aggrievedly. How could Schwer say that about him? He was cruel and merciless to all women except Schwer. Well, he must have been implicated by these fellows. He looked at Lan Ming and the others. Chapter 418. Leaving without saying goodbye? 1. Lung Ruoxue looked around at everyone and said, Then let's go. Okay. Everyone nodded and exited the room. When they arrived at the garden, Lan Ming was already waiting for them. Lan Ming welcomed Lung Ruoxue and the others. Shall we go? Okay, let's go. Lung Ruoxue nodded. After Lung Ruoxue finished speaking, Lan Ming brought them out of the Lan family estate and headed for Blue Cloud City. Half a month later, Lung Ruoxue and the others arrived at Sheep City. Sheep City was a medium-sized city on the boundless heaven continent and a must-pass stop on the way to Blue Cloud City. At the same time, it was also one of the Lan family's subordinate cities. So Sheep City could be said to be relatively bustling. After entering Sheep City, Lung Ruoxue and the others found that the pedestrians on the streets were looking at them with pleasant surprise as if they had seen treasure on the road. Little Lan Lan, have you noticed that the gazes of the pedestrians are a little strange? Lung Ruoxue asked doubtfully. Calm down. I guess they've never seen people as ugly as you, Lan Ming guessed as a drop of cold sweat dripped down his forehead. Possibly. Old Zao nodded in agreement. Although they had taken less traveled roads along the way, none of the people they encountered were too ugly. Little Snowy, let's stay here for the night. Lan Ming led everyone to the door of an inn. We can stay anywhere, Lung Ruoxue said lightly. What Lan Ming said might be a factor, but she still felt that something was amiss. Seeing no one having any objections, Lan Ming led them directly into an inn. After booking the rooms, they went to their rooms to rest. After entering her room, Lung Ruoxue brought Freak directly into the bracelet. In the bracelet, "Little Snowy, where are we?" Icy, who had been sleeping in the bracelet after they got on the road, asked curiously. "We're at Sheep City," Lung Ruoxue said. Icy tilted his little head and thought for a bit. "Oh, at your current speed, it will take at least half a month to reach Blue Cloud City." "Yes, there's no hurry. The medicinal herb exchange meeting will begin in 20 days. Lung Ruoxue caressed the fur on Binky's head and smiled lightly. "Little Snowy, it'll go out when we reach Blue Cloud City," Icy said. He really didn't like to travel. "Okay." Lung Ruoxue nodded. Qing Ju appeared in front of Lung Ruoxue. "Big sister, someone is knocking on the door outside. They'll go out and take a look." With a thought, Lung Ruoxue left the bracelet. After returning to her room, Lung Ruoxue opened the door and found a few uninvited guests standing outside. "It's you," Lung Ruoxue said calmly. She sighed softly in her heart. Alas, why did they catch up? "What, don't you want to see us?" Lan Lai said angrily. These bad people actually left quietly without saying goodbye while he was still sleeping. Boo! He was abandoned by little Icy. "I don't want to," Lung Ruoxue said honestly. She felt a headache looking at the three handsome men with all sorts of characteristics in front of her. It was enough to have Lan Ming as a source of trouble. If there were 3 more of them, then it would definitely be a disaster. Lung Ruoxue's words made 2 drops of cold sweat drip down each of their foreheads. "You're really honest," Lung Wudi said gloomily. Alas, after living for more than 20 years, he only knew today that he was actually so unpopular. Boo! He, who was so strong-hearted, was also sad. "Thank you for the compliment," Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. "I'm here to challenge your man," Sun Teng said coolly, implying that he was different from them. "Challenge? If you have patience, wait for him to advance to Mystic Monarch." "He's not free now," Lung Ruoxue said coldly. Although Sun Teng was different from those annoying Sun family members, she still didn't want to have any contact with the Sun family. "I can control my cultivation level to elementary mystic," Sun Teng said impatiently. "No, you are a Mystic Monarch after all. What if you can't afford to lose and use your Mystic Monarch strength to deal with my man?" Lung Ruoxue obviously didn't believe him. "I'm not that shameless, okay?" Sun Teng explained with a black face. "I'm sorry. I heard that the Sun family's reputation has always been poor, so I don't believe you," Lung Ruoxue said nonchalantly, not taking Sun Teng's anger seriously at all. Sun Teng was so angry that he couldn't speak. "Ha!" Lan Lai laughed happily upon seeing Sun Teng deflated. Lung Ruoxue was still the best. She could anger someone to death. He was much more balanced now. Laugh to death. Sun Teng roared furiously. "Laugh slowly. Please leave after you're done laughing. I want to see you out." Lung Ruoxue closed the door and locked the 3 of them outside. The 3 of them looked at the closed door and were stunned. Finally, they looked at each other in puzzlement. When did they offend Lung Ruoxue? Why were they so unpopular? "It must be because of you. The Sun family wanted to kill her, so we were implicated by you." Lan Lai looked at Sun Teng and pushed the blame onto him. "What does that have to do with me? The Sun family is the Sun family, and I am me." Sun Teng was aggrieved. He just wanted to spar with Yi Qin. Why was it so difficult? Very possible. Lung Wudi also looked at Sun Teng thoughtfully, his mind racing. "It might not be me. It might be you. I don't think Lung Ruoxue gave you any face." Sun Teng rolled his eyes at Lung Wudi. "Me? How is that possible? I didn't offend her." Lung Wudi didn't think that they were unwelcome because of him. Just like this, the 3 handsome men, who made all the women on the boundless heaven continent crazy, stood at the door of Lung Ruoxue's room as if no one was around and started blaming each other. Chapter 419. Leaving without saying goodbye. 2. The next morning, Lung Ruoxue and Freak opened the door of the room and were about to leave when they found that the door was blocked. Why are you sleeping here? Dumbfounded, Lung Ruoxue kicked the 3 people blocking her room. Why did we fall asleep? Lan Lai rubbed his eyes and yawned. You're blocking the way, Lung Ruoxue said calmly. Who knew how you fell asleep? Are we leaving? Lan Lai hurriedly got up from the ground. He also kicked the other 2 people a few times while he was at it. He kept muttering in his head, how can these 2 people sleep like dead pigs? He was awake, but these 2 people were still asleep. Lung Wudi opened his eyes and asked, what's the matter? Sun Ting also opened his slightly dazed eyes and asked foolishly, why is the sky bright? It's already the next day, 3 young masters, Lung Ruoxue said helplessly. It seemed like these 2 people were really muddle-headed from sleeping. Alas, weren't they afraid of encountering bad people? They actually slept so soundly. Oh, let's go then. Lung Wudi finally woke up completely. Lung Ruoxue looked at Freak helplessly and then pulled Freak straight to the dining hall. In the dining hall, Lung Qingtian and the others had already ordered breakfast and were sitting in chairs, waiting for them. Grandpa. Lung Ruoxue and Freak found a seat and sat down, their faces still full of helplessness. What happened? Lung Qingtian couldn't help asking when he saw his granddaughter's unnatural expression. 3 uninvited guests. Lung Ruoxue sighed and explained. As they spoke, the 3 entered the dining hall and sat at the table closest to Lung Ruoxue's group. Uncle, you're too much. How could you abandon me? Lan Lai complained aggrievedly with tears in his eyes after seeing Lan Ming. Didn't you already find us? Lan Ming said helplessly. Yes. Fortunately, I'm smart and posted your portraits on notice boards for a reward. Otherwise, you would have escaped again, Lan Lai said proudly. No wonder people on the streets looked at us as though they saw money after we entered the city. So it was all your fault. Lung Ruoxue said in realization. Hee hee, but you're really slow. We've been here for a few days, Lan Lai complained. This sheep city was a necessary stop on the way to Blue Cloud City, so they had decided to wait here. We're not in a hurry. Why would we travel so quickly? Isn't it better to admire the beautiful scenery of the boundless heaven continent along the way? Lung Ruoxue said nonchalantly. In fact, they had spent more time walking less traveled roads in the past half a month. But unfortunately, they didn't encounter a group of bandits again. How can the scenery on the road compare to Blue Cloud City? Let's go to Blue Cloud City to enjoy the beautiful scenery quickly. Lan Lai said anxiously. Young Master Lan, you can leave first if you're in a hurry. You don't have to be with us, Lung Ruoxue suggested. No hurry. I'm not in a hurry, Lan Lai said quickly. Anyway, he had made up his mind that he would stick to them no matter what Lung Ruoxue said. Boo! Little Icy, I'm suffering so much for you. Then let's go together. But you have to listen to me on the way, Lung Ruoxue said. Since she couldn't shake them off, they should go together, lest they caused any trouble. She didn't want to become famous to the point where everyone knew her. Yes, yes. Lan Lai nodded vigorously like a puppy. After breakfast, everyone was about to set off, but another uninvited guest arrived. It was the 5th daughter of the Lan family, Lan Ning. Lung Ruoxue looked at Lan Ning, whom she had only met once. She was dressed in bright red, had beautiful facial features, skin as fair as snow, and a noble temperament that was beyond reach. Apart from her arrogant and overbearing character that was not very likable, this girl was indeed a rare beauty. At the entrance of the inn, Lan Ning ignored everyone and ran straight for Lung Wudi. Big brother Lung, what a coincidence. Are you leaving? Let's go together. Lan Ning said very warmly, the expression on her face of a shy girl in love. We're taking our time traveling. As a noble young lady, you're not suitable to travel with us. Lung Wudi frowned and declined politely. He didn't want to bring such a delicate beauty along with him. In his opinion, women were troublesome. It's okay. I don't mind. Who asked us to run into each other so coincidentally? Lan Ning said with a sweet smile on her face. What a coincidence. Lan Lai said with a spurious smile. Coincidence? Who would believe it? They weren't 3-year-old children. Were they so easy to fool? Seventh brother, you're here too. Lan Ninger said in surprise, pretending to have just seen Lan Lai. I've been here all along. Don't you know? Lan Lai said angrily. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see seventh brother, Lan Ninger said guiltily. That's my honor, Lan Lai said lightly. Who wanted to be seen by her? Whoever caught her I would be unlucky. And that unlucky person now was obviously Lung Wudi. Let's go. Lung Ruoxue didn't want to see them bicker. After speaking, everyone left the inn tacitly and walked out of the city. Lan Lai and the other two hurriedly followed the group. Don't tell me you're so poor that you don't even have flying beasts? Why are you walking? Lan Ninger couldn't help complaining after walking behind Lung Ruoxue and the others for a while. It's healthier to walk. If you can't walk anymore, Miss Lan, please go ahead. Lung Ruoxue said lightly. Do you know who I am? How dare you talk to me like this? Lan Ninger roared furiously. Miss Lan, I don't think we requested for you to travel with us. You can leave first if you can't take it anymore. But if you insist on following us, you have to listen to me. I'm not interested in who you are, Lung Ruoxue said rudely. She hated people who bullied others with their power the most. She would blacklist both men and women who did so, and this young lady from the Lan family had obviously entered her blacklist. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.